Well, if we're gonna find any ghosts, we better split up.
You're listening to Never Split Up, a horror movie podcast.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 41 of the Never Split Up podcast. My name's Nolan, along with my co-host Anthony, and today we have a very special guest. We have Phil on from Phil at the Movies. How you guys doing? How you doing, Phil?
Very good. Happy early Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween, because we are actually releasing this episode on Halloween. So, and everyone listening, happy Halloween. How you doing today, Ant? I know that you're thriving this season, so...
Yeah, I'm thriving. It was way too hot over the weekend, but it got back to being chilly, so I'm good to go for Halloween now. But it's kind of bittersweet because it's almost over, but I'm going to make the most of it the next couple days.
It looks like I didn't get the memo. You guys are matching today, if anyone's watching on
Yes.
YouTube.
We're representing a certain movie here.
What movie is that, actually? I can't see. It's hard to tell.
Take a guess. Take a guess.
I wonder. Yeah.
The most recent Halloween installment.
Yes. Yes. On that note, this is episode 41. We are doing our Halloween franchise rankings. This is a big one. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. We just covered the OG Halloween, Anthony and I, last week, so definitely check that episode out. We had a lot of fun with that. It was something I was looking forward to for quite some time, and now we're doing a big episode with all of the movies. I have my list. You guys have your list ready to go? I know it's kind of stressful, especially 13 movies.
It was a bit of a challenge, I'm not going to lie, but I think I've mastered it.
Yeah. Well, before we
I don't know
start...
how I do this to myself.
Yeah. Before we kick this off, I'll bounce it over to you, Phil. Since this is your first time on this podcast, if you want to just talk a little bit about what you do on your podcast and maybe, just a quick thoughts of what this franchise means to you before we get into our lists.
Yeah, sure. Well, first off, thank you, Nolan, and thank you, Anthony, for having me on today. Been a big fan of you guys and your show. It's always a fun time, so definitely looking forward to getting in and talking some Halloween with you in just a bit. But for listeners, I do a show every Friday called Phil at the Movies, and pretty much it's for the love of movies. I talk about everything under the sun, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Certainly have covered the Halloween series many, many times and done many iterations. Anthony, of course, you were on the most recent episode, so you can see there's a lot of passion when it comes to horror movies, particularly. But this series, it's the best. I mean, it's the OG, it's the original. I've seen all of these movies countless times, and even on the ones that are so, I can still find that pony, if you will. There's something you can pluck from each one of these movies, and that's all that matters to me. But I'm sure we'll really get into it and carve up this series, so to speak.
Yeah, awesome. Now, just quick question. What initially, I guess, gravitated you to this series? Was it, Michael Myers? Is he like your goat slasher villain? Is it, Laurie Strode? Is it Dr. Loomis? I know you're a big Dr. Loomis fan. What initially, I guess, you watched this as a kid, I assume? What gravitated you towards the franchise? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely saw them, way too young, I'm sure, but
we all did. Yeah.
Exactly right. It's join the club. I would say it's a combination of the three. I mean, you can see I've got Dr. Loomis behind me on the wall. Loomis, Michael, Laurie. There's just something unique about these three characters, and there's none like them, I think, in any other horror franchise, as far as I'm concerned. Just the sort of the level of detail, and then you've got just the great performances. And I mean, ultimately, there's something enjoyable about a scary movie and kind of like that controlled fear kind of a thing. It's like, why do we like amusement park rides? Why do we like roller coasters? There's something enjoyable about that thrill. And that's always been how the Halloween series is for me. I mean, even when I first saw them as a kid, there was sort of wicked temptation of like, okay, I know this is like going to scare the shit out of me, but I'm going to watch it anyway. And like, just like, just get through it. And of course, I've seen them now probably hundreds of times, and it's like you just keep going back for that thrill.
Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely. Okay, so Ant, do we have anything else to go over?
No, dude, let's get into this. I want to know your list. I want to know your rankings.
Yeah, you're pretty quiet over there. I think you're a little anxious, I can tell. Yeah.
I'm so anxious. The anticipation's killing me.
All right. Well, here we go. This is our Halloween franchise rankings. We are ranking all 13 movies. That includes the remakes, the Rob Zombie, all the different timelines. So definitely get your lists ready, everyone, and definitely comment on what your lists are, who you agree with more. But I'm excited to get into this. I made the executive decision. I'm going to let Phil go first. I will go second, and then Ant, you'll round us off. We're going to do it like we normally do. We'll just go back and forth. We'll each talk about our least favorite, and then we'll go from there to our favorite, and we'll just go back and forth. We'll each start with our 13, and we'll take it from there. So, Phil, why don't you take us away with our first pick? Or I should say,
before he goes, just a disclaimer, because the internet. These are our opinions, so don't come and kill us. This is just our personal preferences. We want to hear yours too. So, just before we get bashed, Phil, you go first.
This is not meant to be objective. These are purely our takes, whatnot. But all right, well, let's return to Haddonfield then. Number 13 for me is Halloween Resurrection. Mentioned earlier how I can find a pony in all of them. This is the one that is the most challenging. It's really a bad movie. I mean, I there's nothing more to say to it other than that. I mean, The Mask is kind of good in it, certainly an improvement over the previous one. But as far as the story, as far as the performances, I mean, when you've got Michael Myers getting a karate kick to the nuts, it's like come on, don't do that to it. Don't do that to my boy. Don't do that.
That's a popular number 13.
Yeah, probably
a lot of unanimous feelings with that. But
I can't disagree with anything you said. So that's pretty popular. I'm up next. I actually have had Resurrection at the bottom for the longest time. I just did a little shuffling recently upon my most recent rewatches. So it's not Resurrection for me. My number 13 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Anthony, I see Anthony's reaction because I just told him before we started recording that I was doing rewatches, and this was the only movie I actually couldn't get through. I had to turn it off because I needed to get to other movies, and I was like, this is not worth my time. There's nothing objectively wrong with it. I mean, I like Rob Zombie. A lot of people criticize his direction in a lot of his movies. I think he's a fine director. Part of why you don't like Resurrection, Phil, is because of how they handled Michael. I just don't like this version of Michael at all, really. The whole dead mom with the white horse and kind of making him a little bit more sympathetic, it just doesn't do it for me. And it's not as enjoyable as his first, as the first one. I think the first one is a bit more enjoyable with the kills and stuff. And it's really a shame because I was just telling Anthony, I really like Tyler Mane. I think he's one of the better Michael Myers actors. He's a freaking beast. I believe he's 6'9", and he's just so intimidating. So I really like a bigger Michael Myers. I'm a bigger dude, so I kind of relate to that a little bit more. So I really like that aspect, but other than that, it's just there's really nothing for me to really make it rewatchable. I just don't really have a good time with it, so I had to slide this into my last place. Every other movie that is on my list, I can rewatch and at least have fun with a little bit, but this one I really can't. So I just feels wrong to not put it last.
I can respect that, honestly. It's well, I'll save it for the next round. But I can I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
We'll get to that movie at a certain point. But
yeah, your reaction makes me think it's like way higher for you. So I'm a little nervous now.
I have different feelings about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I think it's definitely a worthy entry.
Well, that's why we're doing this. So
That's fair.
let's get to
I
your
get it.
number 13, Ant. Let's do it.
So, wow, we all have a different number 13 because my number 13 is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers.
Okay. All right.
Yes. I think that I used to loathe this movie. I used to actually loathe it, and I couldn't watch it. But now I do appreciate the fall atmosphere, and I like Michael. I love the last 20. I'm talking theatrical cut, by the way. That's what I'm putting last. Even theatrical cut, last place.
Okay.
I love the whole last 20 minutes when they're in the mental asylum. To get some good kills in. It's fun now, but just I'm more of a protagonist guy. Even in this movie, I'm like, what it does to Michael as the villain, he's a puppet. I hate the backstory. The reason why the original is because they don't give a backstory. This movie, they explain way too much. So I like the Thorn trilogy, just don't like where it ended. And I just can't get over what they did to Michael. And I hate a lot of the characters in this movie. It's not great, but now I watch it, and it could be a fun time, but it will always be my last place Halloween movie. It just doesn't do much for me. What they do to Jamie is a disgrace. Not even with not bringing Daniel Harris back, just to the character alone in the opening 10 minutes. Yeah, this one's not. This will always be the one leaves me with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth the most. But it is fun. I can watch it and have fun with it now.
Really? So it sounds like it's firmly in your last place. Like it's not going to change anytime soon. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, one above it is not that much higher, but this is last place. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It's such a botched movie. I mean, you've got the theatrical, you've got the producer's cut. I mean, don't get me started on what they did to Donald Pleasance in that movie.
Yep.
I can respect that. I
wish he went out on a higher note and with a better entry, but at least we still got to see him. Yeah. He did.
He did deserve better than that film.
Wow, we all have different. We're already different.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's good. Okay. I'm liking this. I'm really liking this.
All right, what do you got, Phil?
All right, number 12. Let's go.
So number 12. So I'm with you. I'm with you, Nolan. It's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Okay.
I mean, if Resurrection did not just massacre the beautiful ending that is H2O, I could probably have a little bit more leniency on that one. But that being said, can't take away the stain that is that movie. But Rob Zombie's 2, you talk about a film that could have killed the franchise. It's amazing the series did survive. There is not one likable character in that movie. They're all unlikable. They're look, I get it. He wanted to show how trauma and violence affects people. In that sense, it probably is a job well done. But when you have no character that the audience can root for and identify with, it's like, okay, Michael, just finish them off. You'd be doing us all a favor. I mean, Loomis is a total jackass. I mean, it's whichever cut you watch of that movie, it makes my brain hurt. And it's like, okay, first off, Michael is not Jason, and Michael doesn't dress like a hobo, and Michael doesn't speak. It's like, those are like 3 sins right there. And it's like, how did this movie get made? And I can respect it from the standpoint, it probably is the closest to what Rob Zombie's vision of Halloween is. It's just horribly executed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a remake. It's a complete remake, his 2 movies. So, I mean, he could technically do whatever he wants with the character because it's a complete remake, but I agree with you. I just don't think he did it very well. And it's funny that you brought up how there's no likable characters. I don't even really think about that because they're so forgettable that I forget to point that out. And I definitely agree with you there. Anthony is freaking out right now.
Or the convulse.
I just really respect when people try to do something different, especially in a franchise that has 13 movies, and you don't get much more different than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I will disagree about the likable characters, but I'll hold it until we get to that.
Yeah, hold that for sure, because I saw your faces when he was saying that, so I'm curious to see your take and how.
But I respect it. You guys are pretty much the same on H2, on Rob Zombie's H2. Same thoughts. Okay. It's a very divisive movie, one of the most divisive in the franchise. So it doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's move along. My number 12 is going to be Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. So I'm right there with you, Ant. There's not much to like about this movie. The only reason I like it a little bit more than Rob Zombie 2 is it is a little bit more fun with the kills. It has one of the most satisfying kills in the entire franchise when he kills the asshole dad. I forget his name. The real villain of the entire franchise. Yep. That guy is the worst character
the entire
ever.
franchise.
Yes. The way he treats his daughter, I mean, come on, man. Like, dude, and he has a pretty cool death too. It's pretty gnarly.
He does.
But yeah, it's just it's fine. We've talked about this before, and I've kind of come around on it too. I used to loathe this movie as well, but I understand what you're saying, Ant, when it comes to like him being a puppet. The only reason it's not last is, and I guess I'll defend the movie a little bit. I mean, it's number 12 for me, so I don't like it that much, but he is pretty scary, knowing the whole cult aspect. I mean, it makes his power level rise, at least for me, so that is kind of scary. And the mask was better than a lot of masks, I will say that. So that has one other thing going forward. I wish they kept that mask in H2O, because I know they used that in the beginning of H2O. They should have just stuck with it. I don't know why they got rid of it, but it is one of the better masks. But there's just, I mean, Paul Rudd, the characters, they're pretty forgettable. What they did to what's her name, like you said, Jamie, is just kind of little unforgivable. But I'm a big Michael fan, and I just, other than the cool kills, like he's okay. He's a little bit more intimidating, but it's just kind of, if I'm going to watch a fun Halloween movie, there's other ones I can throw on. And so there's no reason to really throw this on for me. So.
Yeah, I agree. I do rewatch it though, just because I'm that completist, but I agree. He's intimidating. I'll say he's intimidating more than scary in this one in certain scenes. Yeah, it has really good scenes, but like you said earlier, it's not put together well. It's not stitched together well at all. So I agree.
Yeah, I also hate how they did reshoots and they used a different actor to play It's so obvious that there was two different actors playing Michael. The original guy has a bit of a belly and he's a little bit more out of shape, and then they did the reshoots and the guy is completely fit, and it just looks awkward, and it kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
All right, yeah, I'm right there with you on that. All right, so my number 12 is going to be Halloween Resurrection. What they do to my girl Laurie Strode in the opening 10 minutes is just a disgrace to film. After the high she left on H2O, I think that if she wanted out and they wanted to kill her, do it. But the way they did it made her look so dumb by like Michael grabbing his mask, and I'm like, Laurie, even if it's not Michael, someone's chasing you, trying to kill you. Even if it's not, just kill whoever is under the mask. I hate that. I hate that that's what they do to her. Just kill whoever it is. So I hate that. I obviously hate that she dies. But then after that, like, it's really, like Phil said, it's really bad with the Busta Rhymes, like karate chop kicks and all that. But at least like I can get like super buzzed and like watch it and at least laugh at it. Because it's super bad, but like I can laugh at it and have a good time. The final girl's not great in this. I can't even remember her name. But, it's cool being in the Myers house. I like the whole early 2000s webcam kind of vibe. They were trying to do, they were in on that fad at least. So I can watch it and laugh at it and have fun, but it's not a good movie at all. Has a couple cool scenes, couple cool kills, but if I'm not buzzed, I'm not going to watch it and have a good time. But if I am, I can watch it and laugh at it. So yeah, it's a fun, I'll say it's fun. The opening 15 minutes is horrible, but it's fun. After that, it's fun.
It's a cool premise. It's just, again, how it's executed. Like, horrible. People going into the Myers house. Like, that is a cool idea, and it's been ruined forever because of this movie. But, again, the idea is there.
Yeah, just a couple less lines of Busta Rhymes, like, bossing Michael around and stuff would have probably made it a little more tolerable, too. But I do love this kill when he squeezes the guy's head, and he, like, squishes it, and you hear the crack. That's really awesome. That's a really cool scene. And I like that they're in the house. I mean, we don't really get that much, so.
Speaking of kills of this movie, I love the kill, the door kill, where he pins him up against the door, and then he just opens the door and walks through it. It's so great. Yeah. I love that part. I laugh every time.
Exactly. This is a movie you just laugh at. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's right. It's one big laugh fest right there. Laughing with my
Resurrection.
All right. So then that brings me to my number 11, and it's Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh wow.
This is one of
Okay.
those movies. Yeah, this is one of those movies where I remember when it was announced, I was super excited because like getting a new Halloween, going to be kind of a modern update of the classic. Going to be kind of cool to see what they do with it. And it has some of the same issues that his sequel has, which is the characters are generally not that likable, and so therefore it's like, again, I can't be invested in you guys because you're either just doing a bad caricature of the originals or you're just acting like complete, jerks and whatnot. So it's kind of got that going against it. I like it when Michael is kept mysterious. I get what Zombie was going for. You want to try to explain what happened, and it's very much okay. This is how serial killers are made, sort of a broken home situation. But that takes away the mystique of the boogeyman. Like looking at that house, it's no wonder he became Michael Myers. Like it's all right there. But yeah, it definitely has its moments. There's some cool kills, and I mean, the second half of the film is pretty much a shot for shot remake almost of Carpenter's. I have to say, I really like the first part of it, really the first act where you have Michael and Loomis in the sanitarium. I think that's something that kind of adds a little bit to the lore. Again, it would have been great to have had like it be more like a faithful adaptation to the '78 film, but I can respect what they were going for because that is a cool bit of storyline. But all in all, it's sort of a bunch of moving parts, and it's like, all right, I don't need to rewatch this again.
It's messy.
It is. It's a messy film. It's a very messy film.
Yeah, for sure. You said he loses his mystique, and I know, Ant, you said you appreciate when filmmakers kind of take a swing with franchises and try something different. But the only thing I'll say to that and kind of back up Phil with is there's a reason Michael Myers is so iconic and that character is so beloved. So maybe don't stray from that. It's not an accident that people love him. So I just think it was mostly a swing and a miss, like Phil said. He can do whatever he wants with his remake, but not the best. So
I agree. I do agree with what you said. I do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So my number 11 is Halloween Resurrection. Now, I didn't anticipate this. I have it higher than anyone else on this episode, so I guess I'm going to have to defend it in a way as to why it's not in my last two. There's really no defending that it's like, I'm not going to call it a good movie, but I will say, and you guys even said it, I do have more fun with this movie than I do with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and Curse. So that's the only reason why I put it higher. I do like the premise, like you said, Ann. It has some cool ideas with the whole webcam thing. I love the whole sequence where the guy is texting the final girl and telling her where Michael is. That I thought that was really unique and really cool. And I also like how he's living underneath the house and the sewers and stuff. I thought that was a pretty cool wrinkle that they added and kind of added to the lore, but still kept the mystique. I thought that was done really well. My biggest gripe, obviously, is the way they handled Laurie 2. I actually think that they should have just made this a continuation of the Thorn trilogy. They could have easily done a different opening sequence where like Michael breaks free from the cult and you can kind of break yourself from the Thorn aspect and just kind of did this movie as a one-off sequel to that. I don't think they needed to do this as a sequel to H2O, and I think it would have been better received if they didn't even bring Laurie back. I understand why they wanted to, because, Jamie Lee Curtis has got such the star power, but if you're going to do that and then disrespect her character, it's like, what's the point? So, I just have fun with this movie. I talked about the one kill that I really like, and I'm a big Friday the 13th fan. If you're looking in the background, you see my mask. This movie reminds me of a Friday the 13th film. How you're just rooting for Michael the entire time, and you just want all of the characters to die. So being a big Michael fan, I just kind of have fun with this movie a little bit more than the other two. And that's why it's, I say high on my list compared to you two, but it's still number 11, but it's not. It used to be in my last place for the longest time, and I kind of did some soul searching, and I realized, you know what? Right. I can have fun with this. Fun. Yeah, it's stupid fun.
It's up in the world. It's moving up.
Yeah.
I think that I know she requested to come back to get killed off because of how mad she was with when they told her that he wasn't dead.
Mhm.
But I think they should have just been like, listen, we'll just say you're in like in a maximum security like mental asylum, and then not even have her in the movie, so like Michael can't even kill her. I just think how she died, like just leave her out of it the whole
It's a
thing or do
disgrace.
something.
It's a disgrace. I mean,
And being sorry to cut you off, Phil. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and being a '90s, early 2000s kids, I like the early 2000s vibe. I actually kind of
Oh yeah,
enjoy that
No,
too. So that's pretty cool.
and I was just gonna say, like, it's such a good thing that we have the other Halloween films, the trilogy, because like this would have been such a sad way for the Laurie Strode character to be remembered.
Redemption arc for my girl Lori. Yeah.
Seriously.
All right, my number 11 is gonna get the keyboard warriors out. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
I just want to preface this by saying when I grew up, I was told like, don't watch this one, it doesn't have Michael. My number 11 is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I actually really love this movie now, but I always prefer to watch the Halloween movies with Michael. And I just think if this movie was called like Season of the Witch or just Halloween Season of the Witch and not included in like the Halloween 3, it would have a better taste in my mouth. But I think it has one of the best scores of the franchise, I'll give it that. And I think it is a cool, spooky, one-off, hopeful kickoff to an anthology that didn't work out, obviously, because everyone was pissed when they saw it that it didn't have Michael. But I have come around to it. It has its charm. Tom Atkins is awesome. That final scene of him screaming into the phone, saying, stop it, screaming, no, you don't know what happened. I just think that's an amazing ending. So it has grown on me, but again, it's almost just like a spin-off rather than part of the franchise, which is I know what they intended. So that's why it's super low, because I don't rewatch it as much as I should, but it is growing on me. And I do think it has a great, great, great Halloween vibe with those masks. It grows on me every year, and I'm happy that it has that cult following. I think I prefer it to be a cult classic rather than be popular, so I'm very happy that people are coming around to it. But yeah, I do adore this one. It's just, it's the one I go to, one of the least amounts, so that's why it's going to be still at my number 11. But I know that's some people's favorite outside of the original, so all power to
I'm a
them.
little surprised. I thought you would have this a little bit higher, Ant. I didn't know it was going to be this low.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. I'm actually gonna sort of back you up with that, Anthony. Season of the Witch is my my number 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's not a bad film, and I want to preface that. And like you said, I really separate this outside
Right.
of the Halloween series because yes, it's part of it, but it doesn't feature Michael. And yes, I know Michael's in the the TV screen during when he's
Oh yeah, commercial.
like,
Yeah.
everyone cool down. Like I know Michael does appear, but like when you say Halloween, it's Michael Myers, and this, despite the best intentions, it is just not that. Again, call it Season of the Witch, call it something else. It probably would have found its audience at the time. I think certainly today it would find an audience overnight because it's not a bad movie. It's got a great score. It got a really cool, creepy story. There's a lot of shocks and twists in it. Again, that ending with the phone and him screaming into camera, that's iconic. But as a Michael Myers part of the series, again, I sort of look at it outside of that realm. It's in its own special category, but when I think of Halloween, I don't immediately go to Season of the Witch. It's just it's sort of that, it's the proverbial black sheep of the family. It just doesn't fit. Again, good intentions, but just it did not quite land.
It's really hard to rank Season of the Witch. So I definitely respect everyone's rankings, whether or not they have it last or first or middle. It's just, like you said, it's the black sheep, so it's so hard. So
it is weird, though, because I'm more excited. I'd rather that come back now than have Michael Myers come back, because I want some breathing room. So it's weird that I'm more excited if they bring back a Season of the Witch now, but I still have it so low in my ranking. So it is interesting. Make that the series. I don't want Michael on a TV. I want him in the theater.
I agree with you on that. Michael belongs on the big screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along. So I am on number 10. We're doing 10 now.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. My number 10 is Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends, number 10. It is... Yeah. It's falling. It's falling fast for me. Every time I watch it, I couldn't wait to get to this, but I was also nervous. So, Phil, I know you like it a bit more than me, and because I've heard you on your podcast or whatever. I want to direct this conversation to Anthony first, though, and I want to hear his reaction because I've been dying to talk about this movie with Anthony, and we've been saving it on this pod because we like to do raw reactions on this podcast.
Sure.
And I don't even have like direct questions for you, Ant, but I kind of just want to get your input on why I don't really love this movie. It's number 10 for me.
I know why you don't like it. Yeah.
I don't know if you do. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I don't like it. The more I watch it, the more I find reasons why I don't like it, and I'm not trying to either. Listen, I will say right off the bat, it has good cinematography. It has an excellent score. I mean, Carpenter in the whole trilogy was phenomenal for 2018 kills and ends. I mean, I can't argue that. But that isn't the only criteria for a movie, especially when it's a story 45 years in the making. I just think you have more of an obligation to connect the story to the other movies. And that's, I guess, if I was to pinpoint it, that's my main issue with it is... And I just recently did a rewatch of the whole trilogy. I told you, Ant, because I hadn't done that before. And it actually had the opposite effect on me. I didn't really like Ends because of it. It feels so disconnected to 18 and Kills and the original that I don't know. I mean, I was talking to my buddy Tyler, and he kind of said it best. My buddy Tyler, he's a big Halloween fan. He kind of looks at 78, 18, and Kills as the trilogy, and then End as like a weird epilogue that happens afterwards. That kind of makes it a little bit more palatable for me, but I still don't really enjoy this movie. If it was more fun, maybe it would be higher up on my list. I love Michael, and this version of Michael is honestly borderline disrespectful to the character. I don't like what they did with him, and I'm not even talking about the screen time. I know a lot of people harp on the screen time. It's not even that. It's just the things that happen in this movie, particularly his relationship with Corey and how easily Corey steals the mask from him after they set up in the previous movies how important the mask is to him. I was watching it in the theaters, and I'm like, am I really watching this right now? And I haven't come around on it. Maybe eventually I will, but I don't anticipate it. It stings, especially because I know David Gordon Green has the chops after making 18 and Kills to do an epic conclusion. And I know this was intentional because, let's be honest, they did a bait and switch on us. I mean, the marketing for this movie was all Michael, all Laurie. I don't think there was a single poster that had Corey Cunningham on it. I mean, they marketed the hell out of Michael Myers and his face-off with Laurie. So they knew exactly what they were doing to get us seated. And they just come out with this weird story. And there are plot holes, I think. And maybe you can explain them, Ant and Phil. Why does the town blame Laurie for everything that happened when it was Dr. Sartain who caused everything? I mean, Laurie's just a survivor. She didn't cause any of this. I don't really like that. And the ending is fine. I think we all kind of wish it was a little bit longer. Even I've heard you guys say that, especially you, Anthony, that you kind of wish it was a little bit longer, the face-off. I know you like it. I don't know. The emotional ending with it was more cathartic for Laurie, and I think you're more of a Laurie guy than I am. I love Laurie, don't get me wrong, but I just think, I guess my question to you, Ann, is, and you don't have to reveal everything because I know this is going to be...
There's a lot to unpack.
We're going to... I'm sorry, I kind of rambled, but I had to kind of get this off my chest. I've been holding
it's
it in.
It's therapeutic for you.
Yes, it is a little bit. When you watch this movie, Ann, I just asked this one question. Do you care more about the themes and what it's trying to say more than you do how they handle the characters? Because I feel like that's the only way you can like this movie, is if you care a little bit less.
I think that they do both like really well.
Really?
So it's hard for me to answer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I just rewatched this again today, and I get tears in my eyes and chills every time I watch it. By the way, it's so fucking. I love this movie so much. But I actually,
go ahead.
the one thing I'll say, because the one thing I'll actually just, because there's the whole other shit we'll get to when I get to wherever this is on my list, but I actually think it mirrors the original more than people think. So when you say the opposite, that's interesting to me.
Do you want to expand upon that a little bit? Because
I might
try to
want to
help me
wait.
here.
I might want to
Okay.
wait. Yeah, I might want to wait though. But
Okay.
I think it does. People, I think it has I think it's the requel that doesn't copy the original, but it's a requel done doing something different, but still following the vibe and the atmosphere of the OG.
Okay. Yeah, see, I totally disagree. I don't think the atmosphere is there at all for me. You know, we talked in our last episode how you always feel Michael throughout the movie. I don't get that at all with Ends, and maybe you do. So maybe it's just we have different feelings while watching this movie. Yeah, I don't know. It just bugs me that they just decided to do this weird.
So every
story
time you
with
watch
Corey
it,
and Allison,
you dislike it more.
Not every single time, but I definitely don't like it more. And I'm really not trying to be a hater with it too. It's not like I'm going into the movie looking for new things to hate about it. I'm really, trying to be open-minded. I mean, you know me, I'm pretty fair with movies, but yeah, man, doing the rewatch with the other two movies kind of made it even more disconnected for me. I kind of, the only reason I could see myself watching this movie again is if I just watched this movie as like a one-off weird epilogue. I really don't see myself watching this movie with the other movies.
I will say the term epilogue I think is correct use for this because it does take place 4 years after Kills, but I actually think that's a pro to the movie and not a con. So, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe epilogue is not even the right word because, again, it just feels like such a different character, especially from the original 1978 version of Michael. Sewer rat Michael being in the sewers for 4 years and just teaming up with Corey. I don't know. Do you like Corey as a character, Ant? I mean, he's the main character in the movie.
I fucking love Corey.
Well, there we go.
Yes.
There we go. I mean, Phil, do you want to weigh in at all? Sorry, I kind of had to address this.
No,
to
hey,
Ant
you
first.
had you had to get it off your chest. And look, I can understand folks' criticisms of this film because I mean it's fair to say it is divisive. I mean this will be the most divisive entry until the next movie comes out, I think, and maybe even beyond that. For me, this movie captures, I think, the both the vibe and the spirit of the original film, which is this idea that evil does not die. And even though we see the destruction of Michael, spoiler alert ahead, and you see what happened with Corey, it sort of leaves you with this feeling that evil will always be here. And it's more of a commentary, I think, on the town than anything else. I mean, I'm sure it's been talked about before, but this felt very Carpenter-esque to me. I mean, you think of Christine or even The Fog. There's a lot of those sort of similarities and vibes running throughout the film. The only thing I will say, because I do agree with you on, the scene where he does get the mask taken off by Corey, I would have left that out. I think that's one scene, like, if people had, like, that issue, yeah, I will concede that probably was maybe a bridge too far. I can kind of rationalize it when it's like, well, Corey's consumed by evil, so therefore he'd be able to take on Michael. But it's sort of like you don't disrespect Michael in his own movie, kind of a thing. So that would be my one thing. I'm like, all right, they could have probably left that out and maybe just made it a mystery. How did Corey get the mask? Did Michael give it to him, or like, leave it up to the imagination? That's the one thing I will say is probably a fair criticism and detraction from it, because it is kind of like, okay, well, all right, Corey is, just got his ass handed to him, like, and now he's taking on Michael Myers. Like, it is a little jarring, I will concede. But beyond all that, I mean, it gives Laurie, I think, such a beautiful end to her story, and it's more of a cathartic film than sort of this battle royale between these two icons. Now, again, marketing aside, I still love this film. It connects. It lands. I don't know. Was sitting there the opening night of the theater. I was just like, I probably shouldn't be liking this movie, but I don't know. I'm just enjoying it so much, and it's like every time I go back to it, I come away with such a deeper appreciation for it and what they were striving for with kind of, again, making this a commentary on sort of the town and the evil that is infecting it.
Yeah, and piggybacking off that, that's kind of what I was talking about when I addressed it to Ant. So you really appreciate the commentary and the theming and the John Carpenter vibes. You think that's kind of the strongest points of this movie, and I would almost agree with that. I just think the other things outweigh all of that. But it seems like you care more about that stuff, and that's why you like that movie. Is that fair to say? Not that you don't like the characters, but that means more to you, and you kind of appreciate that a little bit more.
Definitely, like I said, like I said, I like the Corey character, but the themes of the movie, I think, are just that much more effective and sort of, again, it's this whole sort of larger topic. Again, not to say that there aren't themes in the other two films in the trilogy, but this one, I mean, it's running through the whole thing. It's like a rushing river. And again, I really appreciated that. It's okay. This is a different kind of Halloween movie that's sort of, in a lot of ways going back to what Carpenter and Deborah Hill started in '78 and sort of asking these bigger questions and trying to find an answer, as opposed to just being another slasher film. Like, I mean, I think probably if this had just been another Michael versus Laurie, slug it out fest for an hour and 45 minutes, people still would have complained, oh, they didn't change it up. So It's like, I think, again, I got to really respect them for trying something different and being able to, like, all right, we're going to sort of turn the mythology on its head and see what we can find out. Kind of, again, go back to that essence of what Carpenter and Hill were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really don't disagree with anything you just said. Phil. I just can't get over the fact that it was the final installment, the epic conclusion to 45 years. They should have just did this. They should have did the trilogy and then just did this movie as, they should have titled it differently or just did like almost like a spin-off. I would have been fine with it, but I just can't get past that. And I think they had an obligation and I don't think they lived up to it. So that's kind of where I'll leave that. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest. You'll get your time to defend it when it comes up on your rankings, Ant. Don't worry. Thank you for
I didn't say
showing
too much.
restraint.
I'm really gonna get into it. I'm really gonna get into it when I get to ends because I have so much to say about this.
I'm looking
That's
for
great.
it.
That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. That's why I love doing this podcast. Different opinions. So,
but okay, so that was round 10, right? So my number 10 is Rob Zombie's Halloween, 2007, and I agree with a lot of what you said, Phil. I just think that I appreciate. It almost feels like it's a clash of Rob Zombie versus the Weinsteins that mentioned. They're like, hey, you have to remake the original. Rob Zombie's like, no, I want to do my own thing. And they kind of like went in the middle.
Yeah.
And I appreciated, I don't like, first of all, trailer trash Michael is not my vibe. So like, again, I like Rob Zombie, but he needs a better writer. He has to have someone else write his shit. That's not really my vibe that I want with Halloween. But I do appreciate the first 45 minutes specifically. I know she gets a lot of hate, but I think that Sherry Moon Zombie is almost the anchor and the heart of the movie. The ending that she has actually breaks my heart. I think it's one of her best performances ever, actually, playing the mom. I think she's great. I like the scenes in the hospital with Michael and Loomis, but obviously there's only one Loomis, and it's not I love Malcolm McDowell, but it's not him. But he is better. I will say he's better in this than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. But I just really appreciate the swings he took in the first 45 minutes. I think the death of Judith is like really brutal in this one. I like that death scene. I love when he kills the boyfriend with the bat and all that. But once you get to the whole Laurie Short of it all. It just feels like a rushed and nowhere near as impactful as the original version of 1970. It's way too rushed and sped up. And you can just almost tell that the studio's like, you got to do this, you got to do these throwbacks. And it just doesn't work for me the second half. Scout Taylor Compton's fine, but she's no Jamie Lee Curtis. And I actually almost wish they did a bait and switch and made Annie the protagonist, because I think that Annie and I think that Danielle Harris, her performance in 2007 and 2009 is her best performance as an adult actress. I actually felt her fear when he comes in and he's dragging her across that floor. I actually think that it's done perfectly. And I think he made a great decision not killing her off in this one, because I was like really connected to her. And I love that Brad Dourif is the sheriff and her dad when he finds her. I mean, we'll get to when he finds her in the second one, but when he finds her in this, I'm like, damn, I really love that dynamic. But yeah, it's just too much clashing ideas, too much of the studio wanted a remake and Rob Zombie wanted to do his own thing. So it's a mess. It's a mess. But it does have some really cool ideas and great moments. So that's why it's just going to be my number 10.
I just want to pick up on that. I love that idea you have about if Annie had been the protagonist, because I think like if they were ever going to remake this movie again, I don't think it will happen, but like that would be a way to subvert the expectation, is kill Laurie off in the first 5 minutes and make Annie the sort of the final girl that we follow through the story. Yeah. But that's an aside, but no, I totally agree with you.
And she's actually the character that that's what I was like shaking my head. She's the character I connect with in both of his movies. I think she's very relatable.
Yeah, she's good in them. No, I will give you that. It is a good performance.
Okay.
Right, so
and you didn't get to that one yet. You didn't touch Rob Zombie. You touched his H2, but you didn't do his remake
no,
yet.
I haven't. Yeah. They're pretty. Suspense. Yeah, you're right. They're pretty separated. More separated than you two. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. All right. Phil's up next, right?
All right. So number 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 9. So for me, it is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. And again, this is one where it really could go back and forth between, its spot. I love the vibe of this film. I think it has one of the best fall aesthetics and atmosphere. It feels like October in this movie. And there's definitely a look to this movie that isn't always in the other films, with maybe the exception being Halloween 4. I prefer the theatrical to the producers. I rewatched the producers earlier this month, and I was like, it's just a mess of a movie. Like, it doesn't make anything more clear. It's anything, it confuses the story even more so. And I get it. There was a lot of stuff that was left unfinished because they were shut down and then had to go back. And then, of course, Donald Pleasance passed away. So there's sort of a lot of other factors. But even all that aside, like just the idea of Michael being controlled by a cult and possession, I mean, it's just like, no, you're trying too hard to explain the boogeyman. But again, there's some gnarly kills in this film. Like I think of that guy with the gate at the end of it when they're running away from that. That's probably like a top Michael Myers kill right there. It's again, like the fact that like they're all running away and then they just like lock him in there with Michael. It's just so hilarious and scary at the same time. And I have a soft spot for this movie because it is Donald Pleasance's final film. I mean, he deserved a hell of a lot better than what he got, but even a weak Halloween film, he still manages to just elevate it with his presence. And even though he was older in years, it's Dr. Loomis. Like he gives it 110%. And again, I will always have that soft spot because it's Dr. Loomis. I mean, how can you hate Dr. Loomis?
Cosign.
Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely agree. He's definitely elevates this movie a bit for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the mask. Awesome. The mask is terrifying in this one.
It's the best one since Halloween 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good mask.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Ant. Yeah, for sure. Definitely better than 4 and 5, I think. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Okay,
no slicks back hair.
Yeah.
All right, Nolan, what's your number 9, man?
Yeah, my number 9 is gonna be Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Okay.
So, you guys, again, I was surprised. I am the highest on this as well. I thought you in particular, Ant, was gonna have it a bit higher, but yeah, pretty much everything you guys said. It's a good movie. I'm a villain guy. I'm a Michael Myers guy. The fact that it's this high up, though, is a testament to how good the movie is. You know, knowing me, you would think maybe it would be a lot lower because it doesn't have Michael and it's not as fun seeing him kill people. But this movie is just so twisted, especially the ending. And knowing that we get confirmation in the novelization that the kids do die, that he isn't successful, is so creepy. I kind of wish they added it to the movie, but I also love the way it ends with just the the music and stuff. Yeah, I really enjoy this movie. I love the Halloween masks are iconic. The score is so good. I think, Ant, you touched on this. The score is so well done.
John Carpenter, man.
Carpenter just nails it. I think that's probably why I go back to this movie. It gives you those vibes that are so creepy. And yeah, it's a fun time. It's just if it had Michael in it, it would be higher, but it doesn't. And it's number 9 for me, which is really high considering it doesn't have Michael. Again, this is really hard to rank when we're talking about the franchise because it's so disconnected, but I had to give it its flowers. You know, it's in my top 9. It's a solid movie. There's, really nothing particularly wrong about it. It's just, it's fine.
Okay.
Perfectly said. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, my number 9, and I do appreciate and adore all these movies for better or worse. Just if I didn't say that already, but sorry, Nolan. My number 9 is the Friday the 13th of the Halloween franchise. It is Halloween Kills. Is my number 9.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Halloween Kills. Wow, that's low.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew you were gonna say.
Oh, I knew it was coming. I didn't know how low, but I knew it was coming.
This is Michael Myers' movie 100%, which is why I go to bat for Enza, because if people want Michael Myers, this is just his bloody this is his Jason movie. I mean, this is a tribute to the 80s slashers. But it's not anything like the vibe of the OG at all. It's just blood, stupid characters who you just can't wait to get killed throughout. It's a movie of cringy moments, but I have it's Halloween the Ride. That's how I describe Halloween Kills. It's Halloween the Ride, which I have a blast with. I think that what they do to the returning legacy characters, it's just might as well have not even brought them back. I mean, poor Marion. They really put her to waste in this movie. It's pretty bad. She not only does something dumb, but she has like 2 minutes of screen time. I will defend, I don't mind the evil dies tonight. I think it's said maybe 1 or 2 times too much, but it is the theme of this movie with the community. I just think that the scene when they kill that poor mental patient, and obviously the audience should know that, I get what they're trying to do, but they have to go and add that cringy line that brackets like, now they're turning us into monsters. Like, I understand. I just saw that. Don't tell me. I literally just saw that happen. It's just, it drives me crazy, some of the lines in this movie. But, yeah, it's just Halloween the Ride. It's stupid fun. It doesn't feel like the vibe of the OG or 2018 at all to me. But I do love it. Michael's a badass. His mask is awesome. I think one of my favorite shots of Michael in the franchise is him walking out of that house with the fire blazing behind him when he takes out all the first responders. It has great kills. My favorite sequence in the movie might be when Allison and Cameron go in the house and you get that really graphic extended Cameron death, and then he walks down the stairs after Allison. I actually love that scene. I always want more Laurie, but obviously she got stabbed in 2018, so she's kind of secluded in the hospital, which is fine. But it's a little messy, and it's just pedal to the metal, which is fine, but it's just not I wanted a little more stalking and chasing scenes. I think Lindsay does great. I actually despise Tommy in this movie. It's just not my version of Tommy Doyle. No. Anthony Michael Hall did fine. It's more the writing to me. It's just he's too abrasive, and I think that they should have put more emphasis on him because of his relationship with the boogeyman and the OG. and it just didn't match what they did in Kills. But yeah, I had fun with this movie. It's just obviously it's my least favorite of the David Gordon Green trilogy. It's a bloody blast, but it's not Halloween. It's Friday the 13th, an 80s slasher. It's a tribute to 80s slashers, which is fine, and I will have fun with it every time I watch it. But it's not my go-to for this new trilogy. Oh, the flashback sequence too is fucking awesome. By the way, I will give them credit for that. It's awesome.
That's flawless.
Yes.
I'm gonna restrain, obviously, because I like this movie a lot more than you, Ant. The only thing
I do like it, though. I mean, it's fun.
I know you do. The only thing I'll say is some of your nitpicks that you just mentioned are kind of minor, and it seems like it really lowers the movie for you. You're talking about stuff that really is not like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you back me up, Phil? Or I don't know.
No,
I
no.
You kind of discredit it by saying it's Michael Halloween the Ride. I know what you're saying, but I think you're understating how awesome the set pieces are and how cool of a ride it is, you know? And some of your nitpicks are like, I don't know. I guess I'll save it. I'll save it for when I get to Kills.
Yeah, I have thoughts on Kills. We'll get to and
okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Let's keep
quite
rolling. Yeah.
Yeah. So that brings me to number 8. And this actually, I have to just sort of preface, was surprised that where this movie fell, because I have a soft spot for it, but it is Halloween 5. This is one of those movies where, you know, it is arguably the sort of the worst of the original films up until, say, before 6. Like, it's all over the map. Like, at one moment it's a direct continuation to 4, but it sort of ignores a lot of what was established in the previous film. Jamie's mute for half of the movie. Like, it takes a lot of weird choices with it. But on the flip side, I mean, Loomis is always great. Like I said, Donald Pleasance elevates any movie he was in. The showdown between him and Michael at the end, I love that whole thing. Loomis just, ripping out the 2x4 and just beating him with that. That is like probably one of my favorite endings of the entire series. Like, it should have stopped right there. Forget putting him in jail with the chains and the mask on. Like, just have Loomis going down swinging and like cut to black. Like that was perfect right there. I mean, just to see him, starts with the tranquilizers, and then no, that doesn't work, and just starts beating him. Like, damn, 70-year-old man taking down Michael Myers. I love it. Absolutely love it. But like I said, I have a soft spot for it because it is such a different film, and there is sort of almost like a gothic fairy tale vibe running through the film. Like, it sort of combines both the traditional 80s slasher with sort of that gothic subtext, and that's definitely a credit to the director, Dominique Autun-Girard. But again, it's sort of it's a weird movie. It's the weirdest movie up until that point, and like the whole Man in Black angle just was kind of thrown in there at the last minute. I will say, I think if they had kept the original opening where like Michael was resurrected and like some like black magic act by the character Dr. Death, which if you haven't seen the scene, I would tell people go watch it because it is a cool opening.
It's on the Blu-ray.
Yeah. But I think that might have kind of explained more of it, because like that's where he gets the tattoo and all of that. But for whatever reason they took it out. But yeah, it's again not a love-hate film. It's just sort of I guess a guilty pleasure, if you will. It's like one I will like, if it's on, I'll stop and see it through. But there's some weird choices in it, I guess I will say, especially coming off of the momentum of Halloween 4.
Okay, cool.
I agree.
Quick question for you, Phil. How, just because it's talked about so often, how do you feel about Halloween 5, killing off our final girl? Do you have a major issue with it? Is that part of why it's messy for you?
Big mistake. Like I said, if you wanted to kill her off, they could have done it, but switch it with Tina. Like, you don't kill Rachel off.
Yeah. It's so clear that she should have had Tina's death. It is so
It's
obvious.
just, again, it undermines her character. That's why I said, like, there's just a lot of weird
Yeah.
choices that just sort of contradict what came before. And I get it, like, oh, subvert expectations, but it's like, come on, really? Rachel shouldn't go down like that.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to
100%.
clarify. Yeah, because you didn't mention that specifically, so I wanted to get your thoughts.
I was
on
waiting
no,
for
yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, no.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. No, that's
yeah, of course. Yeah. All right.
what is,
Cool.
I got all caught up with Loomis. So it's like,
Oh, Loomis is awesome. Loomis is great.
no.
Unhinged Loomis is one of my favorite
it's
Loomises,
crazy.
and that's-
Love it. Love
him
it.
yelling at Jamie is like so.
No, it's
hilarious
great.
every time.
The woman's like, Dr. Loomis, leave the little girl alone.
It's fucking great. I love it.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, let's move along. My number 8 is going to be Rob Zombie's Halloween. So
Okay.
again, it's a bit higher than you guys. This movie, I definitely agree with you, Ant. It tries to ride that line of paying homage and copying scenes from the original. I think they just do it a little bit too much, especially the second half of this movie. I mean, they do so many replicated scenes. It kind of makes you feel like you're watching, like you're in a fever dream and you're watching the original, but it's not the original. It was just a weird choice. And maybe you know more than me. You mentioned that it was the studios that didn't give him creative control.
They
Are
were
you just
all up on his
speculating?
ass. They were all up on
Really?
his ass. No, they were all up on his ass.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really a
yeah.
shame because I really would have wanted to see what his whole vision was. And, I don't like the sequel, but it would have been interesting to see how he handled the second half of this movie if he didn't have to stay. It's not even faithful to the original. It's just kind of ripping off the original borderline. They shoot so many scenes that feel out of place. Like they just did it just because the original had it. And it's like, why even put that?
And
if
the
it doesn't
changes
make
they
sense?
do make are so bad. It's just even to the copying.
But with that being said, I do enjoy this movie still. Again, I love Tyler Mane. I love huge Michael Myers. The mask is really cool. I like the mask in this movie. I love the brutality. We don't really get that, especially in the original movie. And that's a strong point of the original. I'm not saying that the original needs more blood or anything, but I just like a different version. And I think Rob Zombie did some of the kills pretty well. The whole scene with when he breaks free with Danny Trejo's character. It's like, Michael, I've always been nice to you. Oh, man. So brutal. That's how I like.
Mikey.
Yeah,
I was good to you, Mikey. Yeah, that's the line. Thanks, Ant. This is that type of Michael. Again, why I don't like ends. This is the type of Michael I do like. Just completely vicious, brutal. I do think the beginning of the movie with Kid Michael, it does go on a bit too long. I think they could have trimmed some of the fat. And I think this movie is like an hour and 50 minutes. And I think it's because the beginning goes on for like almost a half an hour. I think it's like 20, 30 minutes until they get to adult. Yeah, so I think they could have trimmed that a bit. But yeah, other than the weird choices in the second half and trying to replicate the original, I think it's a fine entry. I think the chase scene is pretty intense. I remember watching it for the first time in theaters being, on edge. And I think that version of Laurie is, like you said, Anthony, it's not Jamie Lee Curtis. So why even try to do it at this point, But she was fine. She was cool.
I mean, she's a good actress.
Yeah, she's good. I have fun with this movie, though. I really do. It's in my top 8, and it's not a perfect movie, but like I said, I love Michael, and I love this version of Michael, so I can definitely get on board with it. So,
all right, cool. All right, guys, all you internet people, come at me because I'm gonna stick with Rob Zombie. My number 8 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is pretty high for a Rob Zombie Halloween entry.
Yes,
I think there's only 3 other movies that compete with it with the best cinematography in the entire franchise. It's shot beautifully. It's Rob Zombie's second best directed movie, behind Devil's Rejects.
Wow,
yes.
That's a statement.
Yes, it is. 100%. I think that it has one of the most emotional death scenes in horror history with Annie Brackett's death. I think Daniel Harris, Scout Taylor Compton, and Brad Dourif's acting in that, it moves me to tears every time. It's heartbreaking when Brad Dourif finds his daughter like that, blood, naked on the floor. It's one of the most heart-wrenching scenes in horror I've ever seen, and I'll stick by that 1,000%. I get so mad that she gets killed off every time. I wanted her to be the final girl. because obviously Laurie's going down a bad path mentally in this movie, which is interesting. I like that concept of how Laurie handles trauma in this versus how 99% of other final girls handle the trauma and all these other slashers. I think it's very interesting. But I really, really, really connected with Danielle Harris, her Annie Brackett being the homebody, and that's how she reacted to her attack. I think the opening scene is fucking awesome, even if it is a dream of him going through the hospital. It pays homage to the original Halloween 2, but it's just brutal, like brutal, brutal, brutal. Talk about Michael being brutal. That's fucking awesome. I think the nightmare sequences are cool too. I didn't really need, I feel like Sherry Moon Zombie was in it because Rob was like, I have to have my wife in it. I didn't need that part of it.
Yeah.
But I think the nightmare sequences with Laurie when she like wakes up and she's like trapped in the coffin and she's seeing all these weird figures and like it almost adds to like the Halloween lore, the lore of Halloween, those weird figures that were sitting around her in that one nightmare scene. I don't know. It's weird and I fucking like weird. It's super weird movie and I like it. I really adore this movie. It's crazy. I like that they took a different path with Laurie because that separates her from Jamie Lee Curtis, and I don't like that in the Rob Zombie's 2007 remake. They're almost trying to make her a ripoff Laurie. So I kind of like that at how she ends up. She's for better or worse, she's insane and evil, and I love how it ends on her smile. I actually think Scarlett Taylor Compton did really good in the sequel versus the his original remake. But yeah, just for the scene alone of Annie Brackett's death, it just breaks my heart every time, and I think it's so well directed and so well acted. My least favorite part about this movie, which I will agree with Phil, it's just Dr. Loomis is a travesty in this movie. He's absolutely horrible. Horrible, horrible. Fame-seeking asshole. That's not Dr. Loomis. That's not Dr. Loomis at all. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a really, really, really well put together movie, and it has some of the most vicious kills, I think, as well. I mean, he smashes some chick's head in, literally smashes her head in to a pulp in the strip club. It's insane. I don't mind Hobo Michael Myers because obviously he had to survive. I mean, I guess Nolan, you can comment on this eventually, but I wonder if you like how he survived in this and made ends meet versus how he did in Ends. I wonder which one you prefer. But yeah, I don't mind it. It's a different take, and I think it's a special movie to me.
That's fair.
Cool.
That's fair.
I don't have a problem with it, and I don't have a problem with it in Ends. That's not one of the reasons why I don't like Ends. I think that was fine.
No, I was just curious. Aspect. Do you think that because you don't like Hobo Michael Myers?
What do you mean Hobo Michael Myers? Like,
I mean, that's what I mean. I think I've heard you say in the past that you almost
No, go ahead.
Go
explain because
I almost feel like you wish that he's not really Michael in this movie because of how the look, and he's wearing a hoodie pretty much and all that. You know, he's not Michael, but I think it makes sense for after how he left the 2007 movie.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
It's not my favorite Michael either.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a lot more reasons why I don't like this movie, and maybe I've said that comment before, but yeah, I mean, it's not as bad.
Dude, when she's running through the fog, it's so well shot. This movie is so fucking well shot.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. His second best directed movie. Wow, that's pretty high praise.
Rob Zombie. That's praise right there. I have to say,
because he's got a few movies that are pretty high regarded. So yeah, okay,
yeah,
cool.
I don't know, something about this one gets to me. Yeah. What do you think about the Annie death? None of you commented on that when you talked about.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't really remember it that much because I can never get to that part of the movie. When you were saying it back to me, I remembered the scene, but it's not as memorable, I guess, to me as it is to you. That's really? Pretty high praise. It's one of your favorite moments.
It's one of my most memorable in the franchise. Wow. That scene.
Wow, go ahead, Phil.
No, I'm just so checked out by that point. Like, again, you mentioning it, like, okay, yeah, it does come back to me, but it's like, again, just the characters are just not there for me. I will say, because you did remind me, Brad Dourif does a commendable job in the film. He for me would probably be the most likable of anybody in that film, and that's saying something. But no, he does give a good performance. He has more to do in this film than he did in the previous one.
Yeah, agreed for sure.
But yeah, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
Top 8 though. We both
It's
had
so
a
crazy
Rob
how
Zombie
we're
movie
dope,
in our
yeah.
top 8. Me and Ant.
Respect.
Yeah, just different
I
ones.
respect.
Yeah.
I respect.
Interesting.
All right, so that brings me to my number 7, and I'm actually shocked at where this film ended up because probably a month ago this would have been closer to the top 5, if not in the top 5. But uh, the film that I'm going to talk about afterwards will probably explain that better. But for number 7, it is H2O for me, and yeah, I know.
Wow.
Like, yeah, no, I know. Like I said, I was shocked myself. I kind of had to like take a step back and think, wow, is this really where this one is going? And it's not that it's a bad film. It's not. I love Jamie Lee Curtis in it. I think she gives a killer performance. I think what 2018 does is a better job. I think her characterization through that, and frankly, the other two films, does a better job with Laurie than H2O. I think the biggest issue I have for H2O, and this really stuck with me upon my most recent rewatch, it is not a long movie. It would benefit from another 20 to 25 minutes just to sort of stretch out Laurie's story maybe a little bit more, maybe add a little bit more with John and his friends, just to kind of, I'm not saying pad the runtime, but just have a little bit more oomph to it than what ultimately is there. But again, it's not that I think this is a bad movie. Again, I think for what it tried to do, it has arguably one of the best endings of the entire franchise. I mean, that is your like one of your all-time Laurie versus Michael moments. I mean, her cutting off that head, it's like, I mean, I cheer every time I watch it. But the mask is kind of a mixed bag in this
Horrible.
film, and I know that's been we've discussed that's been discussed at many different junctures. But like I don't. This is what really struck me the last time I watched it. I don't like the guy that plays Michael in this film. Like there's something like he's not intimidating. And again, I don't know why I never noticed that until recently, but I was like, wow, he's kind of like it's almost like he's doing an impersonation, and it's just not. It's like he thinks he's being Michael, but he's not. Like Michael sort of has that sleek, stalking mentality, not sort of like. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's like there's just nothing intimidating. And like mask aside, it's like that's kind of a big detractor for me. But again, defend again. Please note, everybody, I do enjoy this film, but it's just again after a recent rewatch, it was like I guess I saw more of the flaws than I guess probably I wanted to admit in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. Respect for doing some, I guess, soul searching and being honest with
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
No, yeah, like I said, like a month ago, this would have been much, much higher up, but
Okay.
that's the beauty of like
And-
rewatching these movies.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and you do really like this movie. I just listened to your latest episode
Yeah.
with Anthony. So shout out, go listen to that. And you had a lot of praises for this movie as well. I mean, guys, we're like halfway through,
Yeah,
so I feel
Yeah,
we're
I
at the
mean-
point where we're really enjoying all of these movies at this point. So,
Tough
at least
decisions
I
are being
am.
made.
Number 7. Number
Yeah,
7.
so-
My baby.
Right in the middle.
I know. I knew this was going to cut you, Anthony. I just
Yeah.
I said, "Oh boy, this is definitely going to he's going to fail this one."
Yeah, I don't know how high Anthony is going to have H2O. I know it's his baby, so we're gonna see. Okay, let's move along. My number 7, and this is fitting that it's right smack in the middle of my list at number 7. It's Halloween 4. So yeah, I know it's a little bit lower than a lot of people have. It's a lot of people's favorite sequel overall. To me, and I say it's fitting that it's right in the middle, but to me, it is just very, I don't want to say forgettable, but kind of just middle of the road. It's number 7 for a reason. It doesn't do anything terrible, but it really doesn't do anything to get me excited either. I think it does some things well. I think the theming is on point. I think it's a good movie for the return of Michael Myers after taking a break with him for a little while to do Halloween 3. I like Daniel Harris. I don't love, and I think a big set piece in this movie is the house, when they're bunkered up in the house. I don't really love that set piece as much as some of the other points in the movie. I wish, particularly, I wish they did the whole, when Jamie is trick-or-treating, I wish they extended that a little bit longer of him stalking her trick-or-treating. I thought that was really cool, and they could have did more with that, but every time it happens, I'm really bummed out that it ends so quickly and abruptly. But yeah, I mean, again, we're getting into right in the middle of our list. There's nothing particularly wrong with this movie. I just maybe it's a little bit of me growing up. I wasn't really attracted to this movie like I was with Halloween 1, 2, and 5. I don't know. It's good. It's a good movie. I told you, Ant, we've talked on this podcast. This is my favorite horror franchise of all time. So, and this is right in the middle of this franchise. So I really do like this movie a lot. It feels like I'm nitpicking it, but it is a good movie. It's just, it doesn't do anything extra special for me. And The Mask is always disappointing. We could talk about The Mask, but I mean, it's been said, especially how they kind of promoted The Mask and then they just did like a bait and switch and it wasn't the same mask.
Well, they used the OG mask on the poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a weird decision. I just don't understand overall how they got The Mask wrong so many times in this franchise. It always bothers me. They get The Mask wrong more than they get it right almost, up until this new trilogy, at least. And it always bothered me for some reason. Like, how hard is it to get a Michael Mask? Yeah, I know. I feel like I could do it better. You would think, I know, right? It's like... just bothers me so much. But yeah, this is a good movie. I like Halloween 4. It introduces Jamie, who's a good character. I actually prefer her, and we'll get to where I have 5, but I prefer her a little bit better in 5. I like the whole mute aspect, but I think she does a great job in 4 too. So yeah, I think it's a good movie.
Okay. All right.
That's fair.
My woe was because you have 4 over 5. That's why I said whoa.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely not a popular ranking for sure.
But my number 7 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Okay.
I have a soft spot for this movie. I really do. I adore it. I think its biggest mistake, which we just talked about, is what they did. I like my final girls, and what they did to my girl Rachel. Nope. It's so obvious that she should have had the hero's death that Tina had, and Tina should have had Rachel's death. It's right there. Like, I don't understand. You could have still killed Rachel off, but give her that death. Give her that death of saving Jamie. You would have still subverted expectations by making her die before the finale. But when they did it, it was just a disgrace to that character. And I know Ellie Cornell was really butthurt about that. She was really upset about how she went out. It was supposed to be more violent. She was like, no, I was one of the main protagonists in 4, and they do Rachel like that. It wasn't even her being like snotty. She was just like, people love Rachel. Like, this is how you're gonna do her. So yeah, I hate. That's my least favorite part about the movie. I actually like that we don't, which is why Curse of Michael Myers is my last place. I like that you even had the Man in Black, but you don't know what he's doing or why he's around. I don't want any answers. And that's why I don't like Curse of Michael Myers, is because we get answers, too many answers. So I'm fine with him being in this movie, because I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Because we get 0 answers at all. I hate that he kicks that dog, though. It pisses me off every time I watch it. He hurts that little puppy. But I think the laundry chute scene is one of the most suspenseful scenes in the entire franchise, when Jamie's climbing up that laundry chute and Michael's stabbing through it. I think the car chase scene is awesome. I think it's so well acted when he's chasing them in the cornfield. I was waiting for a cornfield sequence in a Halloween movie, and finally we got it in Halloween 5. I think it's awesome. The mask is not great. Dr. Loomis, he gets a little more abrasive with Jamie, but I love what Phil said. I love the whole trap he set for Michael in the end. He was just whacking him with that log, and I love how he falls on top of Michael, like symbolizes almost their relationship of how that sequence ends. I do really have a soft spot for this movie. I know it's really hated, but I like it minus a certain few decisions that are very impactful that are made. But I always have a soft spot for the movie because I think I saw it around like I saw these 4 and 5 around the same age that Jamie was, so I always gonna have a soft spot for these two. But yeah, I like 5. I really like 5 a lot. I actually love it, and I would not be afraid to say it because I know it's not well liked, but I do love it.
No, I mean, I bought the Fright Rag T-shirt this year, so like, I get it. I get it.
I love the chase through the house at the end between Jamie and Michael. It's so good. I don't care that the
I'm really
house is
happy,
like the Myers house. It's so good though.
I'm really happy none of us have it. A lot of people have it as their least favorite movie.
Yeah,
So I'm really happy that
No way.
we all have it somewhat higher up.
Oh yeah, it's a top 10
100%.
film. It's a top 10
Oh yeah,
for me. Yeah, it's a top 10.
Cool.
6, right? 6, right?
So all right, yeah, number 6. So as I sort of teased with number 7, this is these sort of flipped around upon recent rewatches, and so number 6 for me is Halloween Kills. This movie is, again, it's the middle part of a trilogy, and it's sort of, yeah, you could say, yeah, some of it is filler, like it's just sort of killing time until we get
Literally.
to Halloween Ends. um, no pun intended, of course. But I don't know. It is a beautifully shot, grisly movie. Michael is a force of nature in this movie. I would say this is probably the best Michael Myers. You want to watch him slaughtering an entire town, this is the one that you have to watch. I mean, again, it's brutal, it's unrelenting. Yeah, there's a thrill ride, like Halloween the Ride component to it, but I think that's almost why I love it even more so, because it's just like, all right, going to give you a flashback sequence. We're going to give you some, cameos of Brackett and Lindsay, and then we're going to just have Michael go on a rampage through the whole town. I don't know. It continues to grow on me upon each, like, I love it more and more each time I watch it. And again, it takes place the same night, so I'm always very partial to a Halloween movie taking place the same night as the previous one. It's wicked. It's unforgiving, and it's like it's a fun Halloween movie. It feels like an 80s slasher movie brought into the 21st century. And I don't know, just from that flashback sequence to the fact that it decides to kill Karen off in the final few minutes. Like I respect this movie, and again, I know people, there's sort of divided opinions on it, but to me, evil dies tonight, and it's just it's a fun, crazy slasher movie. Like it's Michael Myers doing what he does best. It's hard not to enjoy that.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say, and I'm obviously going to reserve most of my comments for when I get to Halloween Kills, is you mentioned Karen's death. I actually think that was one of the mistakes of this movie, is killing Karen. I think Karen, I forget the actress's name, but she does a great job playing Karen. And I think one of the strengths of 2018 was her relationship with her mother and Allison in the fold as well. And I think they could have continued that in Halloween Ends, and that would have helped it make it feel more connected. They could have killed Karen in Halloween Ends, but I think that was a mistake, killing Karen, because I think she earned it to see it through to the end. And I think it would have been cool to have all three of them team up to try to kill Michael, and then maybe she gets it at the end of Ends. I think that's maybe one of the changes I would make to Halloween Kills. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I would still keep the death, because I think it sort of adds that weight going into to Ends. It sort of adds that significance to the the 2018 night as a whole. I would say I'll put this to you, Nolan. Do you think it would have been wiser if, say, Ends and Kills were reversed? So, like, basically, the story of Ends, with some finessing, of course, was the second film, and then, like, Halloween Kills, again, different plot points change around. That was the final film. sort of like the whole town going after Michael one last time.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, Phil. Thanks for bringing it up. Yes, I do.
Okay.
This
okay.
is. I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to harp on ends too long, but I do think it would have been beneficial if, and it wouldn't have been hard. They could have done some finessing, but have 2018 exactly how it is. You know, have him burn, have him escape the fire, and then go into the sewers. Do the whole Halloween Ends as the second installment. You can introduce the Corey character if you want. That's fine. And then you get, you know, the giant conclusion where Michael is just pissed the fuck off because of everything that happened with Corey, maybe, or whatever. I don't know how much you would have to, you know, change it.
Right,
I think
yeah.
that would have made the Corey story in particular a lot more palatable for me if it was the middle entry and not the epic conclusion. So I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to bring it up, but I didn't know. I kind of had to pick and choose what I wanted to say because I didn't want to harp on it too long. But I do think it would have benefited, at least in my eyes. And I know, Ant, you're shaking your head. You disagree, but
Yeah, I disagree 1,000%. I think it's in the correct order. I would not have wanted kills to be in the finale. No way.
And Phil, you agree with Anthony that it's,
Yeah, no, I think the order works. I think the order works.
Okay. Yeah,
But for the
fine.
Karen
Sure.
part of it, I do think that I mean, a movie called Halloween Kills, one of the three Schroeds did have to go.
Yeah, you had to.
I actually grew. Karen grew on me a lot in Kills, so it made it more impactful. I think that death scene was more impactful because of how much she grew on me in Kills.
It's more of a reflection of how I feel
Anthony.
in Ends, really, that I'm bummed that they killed Karen because, and you guys like Ends a lot more than me, so obviously you like how it affected Lori and Allison in Ends, so you don't want to change it. The only reason I'm kind of saying is because I guess it would have made me maybe like Ends a little bit more, but it's fine for the actual movie. I think it's impactful, and it's definitely, I mean, I remember seeing it in theater as my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe that not only...
Yeah.
You know, Michael escaped, but he's behind her in the house. That was crazy to me. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, you know, hooting and hollering for Michael in that moment. So it's not like I totally hated it. It's just, you know.
The lead up to that, though, was a little messy to me. Like, she just walks in the house when she sees that. I'm like, I'm not going in that fucking house. What are you doing, girl? The lead up to her death was a little wonky, but the actual death got me.
It's funny because
it was set up. It was not set up well, the death. But when it happened, I was like, all right, I'm about it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you are an Ends defender, so you buy into the whole evil themology. So wouldn't that kind of explain maybe she was drawn to the window, you know?
Karen was drawn to the window, though?
I mean, it affects the whole town, it sounds, you know, so I don't know.
See, that was how I interpreted that. Like, she was almost like the house was calling to her.
Yeah, that's kind of how I did, too.
And then Michael's right there.
See,
when it happens, it's cool, but getting there is not the best. And Allison just watches her go up the steps and doesn't say. It's just like, oh, all right. Well, I don't want to get into it too much.
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Goodbye, Mom. Good luck going up those stairs.
Well, I mean, Michael's
gonna pass Cameron too.
Dead, so yeah, right. Okay, but let's keep going.
6. All right, number 6. My number 6 is going to be Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers.
We went a little bit out of order, but I think I was supposed to go first, right? But you can go.
Sorry.
You do. No, it's cool. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You already spoiled it. So.
Oh, yeah, because you already did Kills. Okay, sorry, I thought you did 6 already.
No, I did Halloween 4 is
4.
my number 7. Yeah. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so we're flip-flop with that. Yeah, so I'll just go quick, and then you can go to your
no problem.
6. Yeah, mine's Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. I think that after Season of the Witch, this was a good return to the Michael Myers of the franchise. I don't like the mask at all. I love the introduction of Jamie Lloyd. She's a great character. I almost don't even know if she should have been connected to Laurie Strode, though, because, I don't like how they just put in the movie that, like, Laurie died in a car crash. Again, that's disrespectful, in my opinion, to Laurie Strode. But I mean, to me, the best part about this movie is the relationship between Jamie and Rachel, and the evolution of Rachel from being annoyed to having to put up with her in the beginning of the movie to actually fighting to save her the entire second half of the movie. That's what I connect with the most in the movie. The rooftop scene is amazing with Michael going on that, going after them. And, you know, Rachel's she's like, Jamie, I'm just going to get you to safety. I'm going to help you. I love it. Loomis is awesome with his scarred face and his scarred hand. And again, he's there to help. He knows that Michael's coming for Jamie because she's another relative, and he's doing anything he can to save her. I think it's the one thing that really gets me. Talk about like mass, but when they're in the school and he gets the blonde moment, I'm like, what are they doing? I know they had to like cut it quick because they didn't realize what they spray painted something, and they didn't realize until after they saw the dailies, and they're like, we don't have time to go back and film this. We don't have the money and the budget. But I'm like, that is horrible. Absolutely
it's Ben
horrible.
Tramer come back from revenge.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is it's a really good Halloween movie. I love the shot with Michael when he puts his thumb in the forehead. I remember the first time I saw that as a kid, I was like, this is crazy. But yeah, this is a really, really good, very solid Halloween entry. And I never thought that I would like a Halloween movie that didn't center around Laurie and Michael, but they did it with Jamie Lloyd. So I really commend them for that. And obviously, like Phil would say, it never hurts having Dr. Loomis in a Halloween movie. I love the scene when he's with that dude, like the Doomsday dude in the car, and they're just they're doing that. I love little moments like that in my Halloween movies. But yeah, this is
Loomis just
Halloween
takes
movie.
the drink.
Yep. And we actually, like Nolan said, we actually see our protagonist like trick-or-treating a little bit, and we don't really do that in any of the other Halloween movies too much. And then that's something this movie does as well. Yeah, I'm all about Jamie and Rachel, so I really adore Halloween 4.
I'm glad you brought up Loomis's burnt face. I'm really glad they fixed it. The beginning of that movie, that disgusting bubble on his face, and then it's just not there the rest of the movie. I'm like, oh, thank God it's gone. I can't. It's
because he complained. He was like,
so
I'm not getting this makeup every day like this.
Yeah.
He didn't like it at all. Yeah.
Oh man, it's so bad. It's so bad. Oh, it's all you could look at. It's all you can see.
It right there.
It takes away from his performance because he does put on such a good performance. But I'm so glad they ditched that for the rest of the movie. So I guess kudos to Donald Pleasance for speaking up because oh, that was disgusting. Yeah. Okay. Let me get to my 6. So, Ant, we actually have these flip-flops. So my 6 is Halloween 5. Cool. So you had 5, then 4. I have 4, then 5. I feel a little bit more nostalgic to 5 than I do to 4. Like you, Anthony, I was around the same age when I was watching this movie. And I feel like I watched this movie, maybe it was on TV a little bit more often when I was watching TV, a little bit more than I did Halloween 4. I have a little bit more memories of watching 5. And I just think the not only is the theming really cool, and Phil, you touched on this a bit, how it kind of has that gothic feel to it a little bit. I think the highs in this movie are a bit higher than the highs in 4. I think the laundry chute scene is, dude, it scared the shit out of me as a kid, man. Watching that scene every single time, it's so nerve-wracking. So good. The barn scene is really cool. It's one of my favorite Michael moments. I love the barn scene. And you guys talked about, Tina. I don't really have as big an issue with it. Again, 4 is a good movie, but I wasn't completely in love with Rachel as a final girl. She's fine. She's good as a final girl. So when I definitely agree it was a weird decision. I'm not trying to say it wasn't a weird decision, but I actually thought the actress who played Tina did a fantastic job. I thought she was very charismatic, and her and Jamie's relationship was a little bit unexpected, but I think it was pretty fine. I'm not saying I disagree with you guys though, but I guess I just have less of a problem with it. Yeah, this movie's fun. I just think it's a little bit more fun than 4 is, and that's why it kind of gets the edge for me. And like I said, I love Jamie and how she's a mute most of the movie. I think her facial acting is fucking awesome. Some of the scenes with her facial acting for a kid actor, I mean, kudos to her. She did amazing, Danielle Harris. It's so good. Yeah, I just like this movie. I like the car scene where she's in the car with her boyfriend, Michael. And of course, he has the same name as Michael Myers. And Tina's like, yep. Michael, why are you so quiet? When I was a kid, we laugh at it now, but when I was a kid, I was like screaming at the TV, get out of the fucking car. Like, why are you kissing him? She's kissing him on the face. And I'm like, holy shit, And the fact that she doesn't die there, too. It's, you think she's a goner for sure. Once she enters that car, you're like, this is where they kill where he has his next victim. So, yeah, I like it a lot. I am a defender of this movie. I don't know why it's so low on everybody's lists. I think it's fine. And I agree with you, Ann. I like the Man in Black. it could be anything. It could be the government like looking into him as, for something we don't know. It's a cult. I do believe he shows his wrist in 5. So that you do get that, but other than that, you really don't know. And then, of course, Phil, you touched on this, the epic conclusion with Loomis. I mean, this is Loomis's swan song, if you will. I know he's in 6, but 5 is where Loomis is. It's like the last time he really shines. And again, I love unhinged Loomis. He's just so great. I mean, using Jamie as bait. It's like, dude, come on, what the fuck are you doing, man? I mean, but it's like it makes sense for his character. I mean, he's so desperate. He's so desperate to defeat this evil, and it's just so good. He has the one quote. I'm so bad with quotes, but one of my favorite Loomis's quote is when he says, "I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him." Oh, so good. I fucking love that quote so much. I love this movie a lot. I don't understand why it gets so much hate. It's fun.
No, respect. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pro Mute Jamie too, because I think the ending of Halloween 4 is so iconic with her doing that because it's so unexpected, but I did not want it to be like Jamie killing the rest of the franchise either. So I think that was a cool decision, just have her be all messed up for part of 5.
Yeah, I really don't understand that critique that like 5 ruined the ending to 4. Would people really be okay with Jamie becoming the next Michael Myers? I never understood that commentary. I feel like people would have hated that as well. So I don't know if there's a wrinkle in that I'm not understanding. Halloween
3 showed that audiences want Michael Myers, and you were not going to have a 10-year-old as the killer of the franchise. Running around in a clown car. No, that just would not have happened. I mean, I guess maybe if you were going to try to, do like the Corey thing, ahead of time, like maybe that's what they could have done. Like, uncle and niece teaming up, but like even that might be a bit strange.
But people would have been pissed at that too. So
like I said, I mean, there's no winning. There's no winning.
Yeah, there's no winning with these online trolls sometimes.
No. Yeah, exactly. I think it works more with Corey because it was the end. There was going to be no more. It was the end of that trilogy.
No, you can't do it in the middle of an ongoing franchise. Cue the virtual pitchforks.
There we
Let's
go.
do top 5. Top 5.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the real. Now things are getting intense right now. This is where the fun begins. All right, so starting out at number 5, it is for me Halloween Ends. This one, as we sort of indicated earlier, I love the themes of this movie. I think it is right there in sort of the tradition of John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. I love Jamie Lee Curtis's role in this film. I like that we finally got to see her quote unquote happy. And even though there's that specter of Michael in the shadows, Laurie, I always feel is more or less healed in this film, and she kind of almost takes on like a Loomis role once Allison becomes involved with Corey. Like she's seeing it as her duty to stop this evil from spreading, continuously throughout Haddonfield. But I like that they were sort of took it in a different direction. All right, we've seen the scarred and damaged Laurie. This is a Laurie who's trying to heal, who's trying to move on. It's a moving performance by Jamie Lee Curtis, and the ending of the film. Yes, it's not as epic or as rousing as say as H2O or even 2018, but it's a cathartic end to this struggle. I mean, the lines that she has, like, I thought you were the boogeyman, but you're a man who's just about to stop breathing. I mean, chef's kiss right there. Absolutely chef's kiss. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but just there's such a unique vibe to this film. I don't know. It just resonated with me the first time I saw it. And I love how they sort of bookend it with Laurie working on her memoir throughout the movie. And then it ends with that whole notion of evil doesn't die, it changes shape. I love little callbacks and nods like that. And then just, this sort of presence of evil. It really is this idea of what is the nature of evil? How does it affect a community? How does it affect individuals? I think this film will experience a renaissance in the years to come. I think it will be a cult favorite in a way. I mean, it wasn't a financial failure by any means. I mean, it was the lowest grossing of the trilogy, but I mean, it was not a box office disaster. But I think as time moves on, I think maybe opinions will be reevaluated, and Nolan, maybe we'll bring you over to this side of the table. I don't know.
I feel like it's having the opposite effect on me, so I don't know if I can agree with that.
I might be wrong, maybe it'll be 15 years from now, something like that.
Yeah, but just a quick point. I'm glad you brought up Laurie. How do you feel about this portrayal of her character? I mean, I know it's 4 years later, but you mentioned Loomis. I wish she had more of Loomis in her in this movie because, her daughter dies. Her son-in-law and her daughter both die on the same night. It's kind of, I don't want to say unbelievable that, she's this kind of healed and trying to move on. I mean, Michael's still out there, so I don't know. Can you comment on that?
She's moving on for Allison. She's moving on for Allison to set an example for Allison.
It took her 40 years and then her daughter dies after 40 years.
Still happened.
Yeah,
so that's
and
how
it confirmed her
for
paranoia.
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying. It confirmed her paranoia. So now she's not going to be paranoid anymore. I just don't. I feel like that's why I feel like part of this is disconnected for me. It's just so different, and I wish they kind of bridged the gap a little bit. Maybe because it was 4 years later. I guess people can heal in 4 years, but
she got the mental help she needed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, that was sort of how I took it as well. I mean, not that I ever advocate, you must go get the homework to watch these movies. But I will just say the novelization of this particular one does offer a lot of more additional elements. Now, I don't know if this was in the script or this was something that the writer took, but there's a lot more backstory vis-a-vis what happened during those 4 years. There's even some interesting stuff with like Loomis and Laurie's relationship that, I mean, I think frankly would have been an added bonus to the movie if these were in fact as parts of the script. But I will just say, like, if you haven't had a chance to check out the novelization, I would advocate picking up a copy because it really does sort of take the film and expand on it even more so. And it also gives the alternate ending, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't go with that.
Cool.
Horrible.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Phil, you can send me a copy.
All right, there we go. It's in the mail.
All right, let's move along. I'll go next. Get the order back straight. So I'll go get Ant. Sorry, but so we're on number 5. Okay, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, 5. My number 5 is Halloween H2O. Halloween H2O. Top 5. It was a bit higher before I did my recent rewatches. It slipped a little bit, but it actually only slipped, I think, one spot. It was in my number 4. And I think I switched this with my number 4, so a bit of a switch up. But yeah, I really love this movie. You guys have touched on this with a couple of different entries so far, but I think when you were defending Ends, you talked about this. I think this movie, the pacing of this movie and the feel of this movie really mirrors 1978. I think more than probably every other sequel. I love it so much. I love how they fuck with you, and she's got the PTSD, Laurie does, and you don't know if Michael's really there or not. It just fucks with you because you know he's on his way. So it's like, is he there already? It's so well done. And again, you feel him throughout the movie. I understand your gripe, Phil, how he's not the scariest portrayal of Michael. And obviously, I mean, we're not going to talk about the mask. The mask is not good. There's no defending the CGI mask and the other 3 different masks or whatever they used. Right. But yeah, I really love this. This is my favorite face-off. I actually like this face-off better than 2018's Face Off, and that's saying a lot. I just think this chase scene is so epic. I think it's one of the greatest Face Off / chase scenes in horror history. It's really good, him chasing her through the school and the cafeteria and stuff. It's so well done. And then obviously the ending, the epic conclusion, just so fucking perfect, dude. I mean, her reaching out to him, not quite touching his hand, pulling back and just chopping his head off. I mean, oh man, it is so good. I really, you guys, I think you aren't as high as on the supporting cast. I actually really like the supporting cast. Particularly,
me too.
I like her boyfriend. And I know, Ann, I listened to the podcast, not to spoil too much of Phil's podcast, but you kind of dismissed her boyfriend. I believe his name is Will. I love that actor, and I think he does a good job. I think he's a good guy. He listens to her. I mean, he was a little horny in that scene, but once he realized that Laurie was trying to process with him, he was a good listener. I thought he was an important wrinkle to the movie, and it kind of helped bring Laurie's character and her PTSD to the forefront. I don't know if it's my favorite post version of Laurie, because I do love Laurie in 2018. I like both versions, and I'm really glad we have both versions. I like that she's still struggling with the night that her best friends died, but she was able to move on, and she is, the principal of she's the principal, right?
Yeah, whatever they call it, whatever term, whatever, I don't know what term they use, but yeah.
And she was able to make a successful career out of herself. I think that feels a bit more connected to the bookworm Laurie of the original, so I do like that version of her. Yeah, I just really like this movie a lot, and again, the buildup is so intense until you finally get that awesome scene with the gate scene, and he breaks through the gate, and then he goes face to face with Laurie for the first time. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis in that scene, especially, she nails it. Yeah, it's so good. And I like the relationship she has with her son. I think it's very authentic and it's very real. Yeah, this movie works for me, and the ending is so fucking epic. It's hard to leave this off my top 5. So it did slip a little bit, but it is still top 5 for me. It's really good for me.
Yes, dude, I'm happy. It better be in your top 5. Good. Okay, but my number 5, H2O was, like Phil said on our episode, H2O was the requel before requel was a thing, but not my number 5 is the requel. It's Halloween 2018. This movie did slip down a couple spots for me. I did a few rewatches, but it's awesome. You can't say this much in the franchise, but it gets Laurie and Michael right. And I don't know why they can't get Michael right in half of these installments, but this movie does it, and he's scary again. The mask is the best mask since the original 2 movies. It's awesome. I mean, I know we talked about kills already, me and Phil, and we talked about ends, but James Jude Courtney just knocks it out of the park as Michael Myers in this entire trilogy. Whether you like the movies or you don't, it's just awesome. But 2018 brought back John Carpenter and his score. I mean, the scores in these movies, even Kills, I didn't mention it. John Carpenter's score in Kills. I mean, I loved Unkillable and Rampage. Those are my 2 favorite. But throughout the entire trilogy, John Carpenter it elevates this trilogy so much. And when you first hear his Halloween theme after that opening scene in 2018, God, I love that opening scene. When they go to visit Michael and he's just yelling, "Say something," you just cut to the credits. Oh,
perfect.
Damn, I get chills every time I watch it. And I love how David Gordon Green has the pumpkin coming back to life. The franchise is resurrecting and coming back to life as it should. Oh, it's so damn good. I think my nitpicks are the Easter eggs are a little bit... I love Easter eggs, but I think it's a tiny bit heavy-handed. I can deal with Allison looking out the window. Let's go, okay, Laurie's there instead of Michael. But there's certain ones with, like, when Laurie's drunk and she's going to the dinner and she's like, I saw him, I saw the shape. I'm like, the only people who know the shape is the audience, because that's how he's credited in the original. It's like, she's saying that as an Easter egg. I'd rather her say, I saw the boogeyman. Or, it's just... I'm like, that's a little bit forced because we're going to get... I got a wink. I'm like, haha, I get it. He's the shape. That's what he was credited as in the first movie. But it's not... she would never say that. Laurie would never say he's the Shape. She would say he's the boogeyman or it's Michael. And there's a couple other Easter eggs that are a little bit too much for me, but other than that, this is a great return to the franchise, and it kicked off this. I mean, it's the highest grossing slasher movie of all time. Not that box office equates to quality, but this brought back the franchise and started the requel trend, which I'm so thankful for because it also led to my baby being brought back, Scream, this movie. So I can't not mention Scream in every episode. Sorry, guys.
You had to bring it in.
But,
yep.
I think that the third act of the movie is obviously the best when it's flip-flopped. In the OG, Michael was hunting Laurie, and in the third act, she's hunting him. And I love that reversal when she's going through the house. I really like this movie. Karen bothered me a little bit in this one because she was just like dismissing her mom's like trauma. But I guess when you're a kid and your mom puts you through all that training, it makes sense. So I like her and Allison, but I'm happy that we're focusing on Laurie. It's still Laurie's franchise. And I just think her and Michael, when he pops out and they're fighting in the end, I'm like, oh, this is what I want. I love that these two are back together. For better or worse, they're back together. I really adore this movie. I think David Gordon Green doesn't get enough credit for this trilogy, and he kicked it off. Thankfully, he got a lot of credit for 2018, which he kicked off. That was critically acclaimed, so he deserves more credit than he gets. Yeah, I love 2018 so much.
Talking about the score, dude, the scene where Allison is running door to door right after
Allison.
He kills the friend.
I love that.
You know the names. I don't even know the names.
Yep.
Oh, dude,
it's
that
so
part
good.
just, I get goosebumps every time. It's Carpenter, man. Oh, you are on something when you wrote that.
Seriously.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yes, I know.
Carpenter never misses. He never misses.
Nope. Dude, no, he does not.
I literally had them like queued up on my phone for like exercising or something, especially this time of year. Yeah, so you get it. You get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you that bounce in the step in the morning.
Okay.
All right, so number 4. All right, so number 4 for me, it is the original sequel, Halloween 2.
Oh.
This is.
You scared me for a second.
No, no, I know. I was sort of. Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
No.
It's like, are we about to end this episode?
No, really just nosedive. No. Halloween 2, number 4. I mean, this is a near perfect film. As far as I'm concerned, it is in keeping with the tone and the tenor of the original. It's a perfect double feature. The vibe, especially in the hospital, it is creepy as hell. I mean, Michael just walking around and stalking, and then one by one killing off all the employees before he gets to Laurie. I love their chase scene from when he lifts that nurse up, and then she's going down, and right when the elevator, it's like, oh my God, is he going to get her? Is he going to get her? We get the start of Dr. Loomis's descent into madness with this film. I mean, I shot him 6 times. Like, I mean, only Donald Pleasance can deliver that line with such brilliance. It's definitely you can feel they felt the pressures of the early 80s slasher films to sort of make it a little bloodier, a little gorier than the original. But I mean, it's still a fun film, and the ending of it, just Loomis and Michael. Again, it's Ahab and the Whale, it's Van Helsing and Dracula. It doesn't get much more climactic than that kind of a showdown. The score, I've seen people in recent years say like, oh, the score it's too I don't know what not techno, but it's just sort of odd. I think it works with the creepy vibe of the hospital, and again, it's meant to be a little bit more unnerving because we're sort of taking it to the next step. And again, I have said I always prefer when Michael doesn't have an intended target. Like I'm not necessarily a fan per se of the brother sister storyline, but I think it does work for this film as a surprise twist. And I don't know, I have such a soft spot for this film. Again, this is another one. Every time I see it, I have to stop and watch it through.
As you should, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, me and Ann we still have to get to that movie, so I guess we'll save our comments for then. But for now, I have a different number 4. My number 4, and this is the one I was recently just flipped with H2O, is Halloween 2018 would be my number 4.
We're not far off.
Dude, yeah, not far off. Dude, man, whew. I remember seeing this opening night with you, Anthony. We went opening night to the preview. I believe we saw it in the Dolby Cinema, so that was really cool.
Did.
The amount of hype that we had, dude, that Michael was returning. I just remember how much anxiety we had. Like, is this movie gonna be another trash sequel or not? And I remember we left the theater. We didn't know how to feel about it. It took us another viewing. We had to both go back to the theater a second time to really, let it all soak in. Dude, I mean, just chef's kiss. I mean, David Gordon Green just knocked it out of the park with this. I love it so much. You kind of commented one of your nitpicks, Ant, that you're not a huge fan of Karen in this movie, and maybe Allison, and they should have focused on Laurie. I think the best
I'm
part
happy
of...
they did. I said, yeah, I'm happy they focused on Laurie. That's what I said, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I misheard you.
Yeah.
I think the strongest point of this movie that they completely nailed, and it was really hard to do, I don't even know how they pulled it off, they did the relationship between Laurie, Karen, and Allison so well while still maintaining Michael's presence at the forefront as well. I mean, they balanced that so perfectly. I just, it's so good. Yeah, like you said, the opening scene, I remember seeing it for the first time, like, oh my God, is Michael going to turn around? Is he going to attack them? What are they doing? Why are they showing him the mask?
Shot
I was
so
on
well.
the edge of my seat. Yeah, I'm so happy those podcasters got it. That was so satisfying. Yeah.
Investigative journalist.
Oh, God, I know. Oh, yeah. No hate to podcasters, because look at us, but I mean they were not very likable characters. Yeah, I mean I thought Dr. Sartain was a good addition.
Right.
People don't like him.
Talk about that. I didn't mention that. Talk about the twist. Do you like the twist?
I don't even really consider it a twist. I mean, I guess it's a twist because he did mention that he studied under Loomis, so you were assuming that he was going to take on that Loomis role. I mean, it is a twist. I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I'm glad that he dies. I don't think there was room for him. Oh yeah, one of the best death scenes ever in this new trilogy. But I don't think there was room for him to really replace Loomis, and I'm glad he didn't.
I'm happy you said that. You can't replace Loomis, so I'm happy they took that turn with him, because then he would just be another rip-off Loomis, and there's only one Loomis. So I'm happy that he took that evil turn to a villain, because other than that, it would have been like, all right, this guy's nowhere near as good as Loomis. So I appreciate the twist, actually. I know people are divisive on that part of the movie.
Yeah, and I love the obviously the ending in Laurie's house. I love the team up. They all kind of play a role. Karen shoots him at the end, and Allison helps trap him in the basement with the knife. I love how the three of them work together. I love the this is what I mean, how Rob Zombie did it a little bit overboard. I love the nods to the original. The fucking scene where he throws her off the balcony and then she pulls a Michael and disappears.
That's the one Easter egg I love in this movie. I love that.
Yes, one. I think it was perfectly tasteful. Yeah, I love this movie. It's it's top 4 for me. It was number 5 for a while, but I just did a recent rewatch and I'm like, you know what? It's got to move up because it's so damn good. I mean, I really can't find much wrong with it. That's how good it is.
So it's top 5 for all 3 of us because Phil hasn't even got to it yet. So that says something about this movie when we have 13 movies in this franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
But, okay, my number 4 is going to be Halloween Ends. So it is up there, my people.
Okay.
It is up there.
Okay, I'll take that. It's not top 3. I'll take it. I will take
3.
I was worried that it would be.
I know you were worried about that, but it's my number 4. But it's dude, it's like every time I watch it, I'm like, God damn, I'm in love with this movie. I think it has one of the best opening scenes of the entire franchise. The first time I saw that, my jaw was on the floor.
Oh
Like,
my
and
god.
it's shot. It's perfectly directed. I love it because you think, is Michael in the house or is he playing a trick on the kid's playing a trick on Corey? It Oh, it's so good. It has my favorite score of the entire trilogy. John Carpenter, again, we got to shout him out. He kills it. Specifically, I love the procession,
Oh
junkyard,
yeah.
Corey and Michael, and the fight. Those 4 tracks,
The
they,
fight is
they keep me
phenomenal.
they keep me going. They keep me going. I listen to them like way more than I should on repeat. But yeah, so it's my favorite score of the entire trilogy. I think that it's the best cinematography since the original 2 movies. This movie is shot. It's perfectly shot. The scene when Laurie pulls the knife out and you see Michael's reflection in the knife.
Oh.
It gives me chills because I'm getting chills right now just talking about it. I think that it's the ultimate tribute to John Carpenter, this movie. It just has so many of his, not even just Halloween, of his other movies, like Phil said, Christine, The Fog. And I just think, I'm curious, Nolan, because I think it adds to the legend of the boogeyman. This movie just has that mythology. That's why I appreciate it so much, because it's not just Michael. It's like you don't really. That's why I think it's more like the original, because you don't really know what's going on with this town. It's like Michael infected this town with his evil, and now they have to pick a new boogeyman to blame, and that's Corey. And I actually appreciate that Corey ends up getting the evil, and I like how the contrast between Michael, we would assume, is born evil because what he did when he was 6, but in my opinion, the town turned Corey evil. So I just like how it's having those conversations. I think the dad of the son who was killed, he has a great line. He was like, the town took my pain and despair and they made it about them. And I'm like, oh, that is such a good line and theme. And I love how when he also talks about when he saw Corey on the side of the road, he wanted to go up and kind of just make amends with him. He's like, what I saw, that wasn't Corey in his eyes. He was going down a dark path, and then he has the whole, did this town do this to him, or was it always there? And I just think it's such a fascinating conversation on what evil does to a community and what someone like Michael Myers can do to this small community. And I actually think that how they blame Laurie, it's because what she was doing we don't know what she was doing those 40 years. She could have been going to bars and stuff and be like, oh, Michael's coming, Michael's doing this. You don't know what she did to the town in her hysteria, because she was a doomsday prepper in 2018 versus ends when she took the time. She's like, all right, he killed my daughter. Like, all that prep and he still got my daughter. I had to take the time. I had to go get help, and I had to be the best version of myself for Allison, to the point where she's trying to celebrate Halloween. Which I think that I like how she got over what happened to her. And then in the end of this movie, I mean, it's the cherry on top. She was able to say goodbye to her boogeyman and finally end Michael for good. And I love the shot when she literally just wants to get him bleed out, and she slits his wrist and she almost hangs on to his hand as like, all right, I'm saying bye to this. My evil's leaving me. The evil's gone. I'm saying goodbye. I think it's so expertly done. One of my favorite sequences, besides the finale, is just to me amazing. But I love the Dr. Mathis scene when the slutty nurse, whatever, who got a promotion from sleeping with him, she goes outside, and before she turns on the light, you just see in the pitch black Corey stabbing him. I think it's so well shot that it's not in focus, but you can see what's happening if you want to. Oh, it's so good. It gives me chills every time. Yeah, I'm in love with this movie. I think it's an emotional and cathartic ending for Laurie Strode, and I'm a Laurie Strode guy, so maybe that's also why I really fall in love with this movie, is because it's the ending that Laurie needed. It's not a happy ending, but it's hopeful, because Allison still does leave. She leaves town, so she didn't lose Allison, but Allison's like, we gotta separate for a bit. I have to leave this town and find myself. But I just love how it ends with Laurie on the porch, and Frank Hawkins is coming, and she has that sense of, okay, it's not great, but it ended and things could get better. And I just think it's the cherry on top that the movie ends going through all the locations, but you don't hear the breathing, versus in the original, after the ending, when the boogeyman got away, it goes to all the locations where he was and you hear him breathing. It's like, okay, her boogeyman is finally gone. And then the whole theme, like Phil said, it's evil doesn't die, it changes shape. So there will always be an evil, no matter what, that someone's gonna have to go up against. I think that this is such a smart and poetic almost conclusion to the franchise for now, which I'm in love with it, dude. I'm in love with this movie.
The only thing I'll say, because you did address it to me earlier, you were talking about the themes of, how evil infects the town, how I thought about it. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I think that's a really cool concept. I just don't like the execution, and I just don't like where it's placed. But I like that as a concept for sure. I think that's a cool thing to explore. And I didn't really bring up Allison too much when talking about these movies. I really also have a problem with the way Allison is handled in this movie. I think she is a final girl in 2018. I think she's the final girl in Kills, and I don't like my final girl to go out like this. I think they were setting her up, and I think they let her down in Ends. I just don't like how she's, goes with the bad boy. And I understand she has trauma. Her parents died. I get all that. I get all that. She's not in her right frame of mind. But I think it's the execution that I don't really appreciate. How she just all of a sudden is like, let the world burn. Like, fuck Haddonfield. Let's fucking leave on your motorcycle. It's like, okay. I just don't like that for my final girl. And I get the movie was about Lori.
Right.
But, they were setting her up. And I really loved Allison after Kills, and I thought she was one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise behind Laurie and Michael. So I just was really disappointed in her character in Ends. It didn't really strike with me. So that's another reason why I was kind of let down.
I thought it was fascinating that Laurie got the help, but Allison almost bottled up her trauma again, and that's why she's having this little outburst with Laurie in the end of the movie when she just lashes out on her.
Yeah.
And I think she's connected to Corey because they both experienced different versions of trauma, but he's looked at as the villain, and she just is connected to him because of no one wants to be around him, and that's who she's drawn to. I just think it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Again, I just think it's the execution. I think maybe they went a little bit too overboard with it. But I like all those in theory. I just don't really think it played
out. And I do like
well.
how Allison, at the end of the day, she does realize, look, Lori was right. And she comes back and she makes sure to save her one last time and not let this happen to her again. It's so fucking good.
That scene where she finds Lori with Corey, it bothers me so much.
Oh, when she went with the knife?
Like, assumes Lori. Yeah, she just assumes
she's
Lori
not in that right headspace.
Killed her boyfriend. Like, I know, but it's just not what I want as a final girl. I thought she was gonna elevate herself to be the final girl with Lori, and I know she does. She helps her with Michael, but yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. I said my piece. We'll move on from.
And that line of like Joel said, that dialogue with Lori, and she's like, "I've run from you. I've chased you. I've tried to contain you. I thought I tried to forgive you. I thought you were the boogeyman, but no, you're just a man who's about to stop breathing." God gets me every time. And when she's just walking to that procession, I see Jamie Lee Curtis's the emotions in her face. It just it gives me chills. It makes me tear up when I see that scene. It's so damn good. I fucking love Halloween Ends, man.
Right there with you,
Number
man.
4.
Right. Hey,
so now,
love it.
Just missed my top 3. Just missed my top 3.
No, I'd say it's top 5. Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. Again, we're representing with the shirt. So.
Top 10.
There we go. See,
there we go.
That's a victory right there. That's a victory. Okay, so now we're getting to the top 3, and this is one that has really come up for me in recent years, and it is Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. I adore this film. It does everything you want in a Halloween movie. It gives you Michael. It gives you Loomis. It gives you the stalking. It gives you the creep factor. It has a perfect score. It has a lot of great chase sequences. There's a fall Halloween atmosphere in it. I love the opening credits, that it sort of subverts expectations. We're not getting the pumpkin, but we're getting this Midwestern farm and all these sort of traditional Halloween images. I just I love it. It's edgier than the first film. It pushes the envelope in places that scene with the thumb through the forehead. Oh, that's just a killer way to start a Halloween movie. And the ending. I mean, talk about continue, kind of carrying on those themes of the original film of like evil doesn't die, and right here it is living on in this 10-year-old girl. I love it. Again, this movie does everything you want in a Halloween movie and then some.
Yeah, it's a good, it's a really good Halloween movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the opening. I didn't
disagree with
mention
any of
that,
the
but
points.
the opening credits are awesome in this movie. It
It's
just has that Halloween
one of my
vibe.
favorites.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the opening credits and then the ending is fucking so iconic. So awesome. Just her standing there with the knife. Oof.
And Loomis
So
is like,
creepy.
no.
Love it.
Loomis
No.
screaming, "Oh no!"
Yeah. Love it so much.
Yeah.
All
Love
right,
it.
here we go. Okay, top 3 from me. My number 3, and this has moved recently as well. My number 3 is Halloween 2, released in 1981. At my number 3.
Number 3?
No.
Yes, number 3. It was 2 for a while, but it's
Oh my
just
god, I
slipped
know
to my
you're number 2.
3. I was waiting for the realization. Yeah, it's Phil has talked about it already. I know where this lands for you, Anthony, but I won't spoil it for the rest of the viewers. I love this movie so much. It's a perfect double feature. I have fond memories of watching the original Halloween as a kid and then playing the sequel back to back. I mean, that's almost a must for me. Now we have the different timelines and we have 2018, so I can do that too. But before all of these movies, when I was a kid, it was almost a must to watch these back to back. 4, 5, and 6 are fine. They're good, but I had to watch those two. I just love this movie so much. The jacuzzi scene, or whatever you call it, the hot, the hot therapeutic bath with the hot tub. Yeah, fucking awesome. I love that scene. All the scenes, really. I mean, the whole hospital setting, I like a lot. I think them going away from just the neighborhood vibe and being focused in the hospital is really cool. Loomis is really good. Him hunting down Michael through town in the beginning is really awesome. We didn't talk about this the beginning, like him going to evading the police and killing that woman is so cool. The POV shots and stuff at the beginning are so cool. That's one of the strongest points of the movie, I think. Yeah, this movie just works for me. It's really cool. It's got the same vibe as the original in terms of like overall look, especially. It's a good mask and it's a good Michael. It's it's just it's an all-timer for me. It's great. I fucking love it. It's top 3. I don't really have many negatives to it. I understand how, it was the early 80s by now, so they had to make it a bit more campy, and I'm fine with it. I think it still works. I don't think they went overboard with it. Yeah, Laurie is great again, and it's just a great fucking movie.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. But my number 3 is going to be Halloween H2O. This movie,
number 3.
This movie
Nice.
is up there for me. I mean, again, I'm 90s kids, and this is 100% a 90s Halloween movie. But fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. All I'm gonna say is Michael. One of the best scenes in Halloween history. It is the epitome of final girl badass. Laurie walking up that campus with her shadow and getting that axe and just screaming for him like, "Let's go." It gets me amped. I've seen this movie like countless times, and I get amped every single time that scene happens. I'm like, I'm ready. And the rest of the movie is just a brawl between them two. It's so damn good. I think Josh Hartnett is excellent as John. I love their relationship. I think that it's a better relationship than Karen and Laurie, like how it's executed. I think he understands his mom went through something. You see in the beginning, he like goes and opens the cabinet, gets all the pills for her, but then he's also kind of fed up with her. But it's done to me in a more realistic way versus how Karen and Laurie's relationship is. I just love the scene, like midpoint of the movie when she finds him off campus, and she's just, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And he's like, I'm not comfortable with you saying that, Mom. And then he just is like, Michael Myers is dead. Like, stop dragging me down with you. And I just love the way they play off each other in that scene. It's so damn good. And then he finds out, 20, 25 minutes later, all right, Michael's back. And I actually grew up with this, so I am a fan of the brother-sister angle, because it's how I grew up. It's nostalgic for me. I love that we have two different timelines, but I just really love how it's more personal for Laurie, because at that end scene, like Nolan said, she goes to like almost graze his fingertips, and then she just takes it back, and she just fucking slams his head off, and it's so damn good. It's probably my favorite ending. It's my favorite Laurie is H2O. My favorite final girl Laurie. It's just badass, so badass, and I think it deals with her trauma in a different way than 2018. But I like that we have both, and I just think it might feel a little more natural in this one, in my opinion. I love the scene. Again, the scene that doesn't even have anything to do with Michael. It's just Laurie, and she's at lunch with Will, and he goes to the bathroom, and she asks for another Chardonnay, and she just downs it in enough time because she doesn't want Will. Clearly, she's an alcoholic. She's fucking drinking vodka and all this, but it's just so well done. How Jamie Lee Curtis. This is just Jamie Lee Curtis's movie. I get the nitpicks about Michael. He looks like shit. But I'm there for Laurie kicking ass. I think Marion is used way better in this movie than she is in Kills. She actually puts up a fight and has an iconic opening scene. I love that opening scene so much. It's one of my favorites of the franchise. And I just really, really think at the end of the day that this is the battle that I think of when I think of Michael and Laurie. So it's my number 3. I know people brag on this movie, but I'm in love with it. It's Halloween Scream meets Scream. It is, dude. It is.
Karen getting some stray bullets from Ant this episode.
I love Karen.
Times you've,
yeah. I love John. To me, is way better than Karen. I'm sorry, he's way better than Karen. Okay. I love Karen in Kills because she actually does something.
Yeah,
that's fair.
All right,
that's
cool.
fair. That's fair.
All
right. So here we go with the top 2. And I know, seriously, a lot of pressure right now. No, number 2 for me is Halloween 2018. This is my favorite sequel. Sort of like how the original is the bar for which all Halloween films, should be measured, or frankly, slasher films. Halloween 2018 is for me what I will have measured and will measure all Halloween sequels. It has everything. You both have mentioned it. Michael is scary in this again for the first time in a long time. I love Laurie's story in this film. I think it's a different angle than H2O. I like how she's sort of a prepper in this film, and then there's sort of like that Loomis vibe, particularly when she's going out on Halloween night trying to find him, and she's got a little radio police scanner in the truck. Everything. The music, the aesthetic. There was sort of an effort to say we're going to go back to the basics, but also give something different. I even like the Sartain twist. I know sometimes people will say that's the one part that they don't like in the movie. I like that it's sort of the reverse of Loomis, whereas Loomis was always about trying to stop Michael. This guy wanted to study Michael and just sort of adds that interesting level to it. I love their showdown. It's like the only thing like that would make this movie like the greatest of all time is if like somehow like you could have had Dr. Loomis in the flesh in this movie. Like that's the only thing that kind of like holds it back from being like this incredible 5 out of 5 film. Like it's just everything about it, the music, direction, acting, it's pitch perfect. Never say never, but I think it will be a long time for me to before a sequel surpasses this. Just the hype alone for this film, and like even now 5 years later, it still holds up. Like this is a multiple watch Halloween film for me during the Halloween season. I just adore this movie, and I love that it kind of gives Laurie her moment while also having an ambiguous ending with we don't know where Michael is at the very end. I love this film. Absolutely love this film. It's perfect.
It's a great movie, dude. It's a great movie.
It's so good. I just watched it, I believe, yesterday. It's just I fall in love with it every time again. It's so good. It's so fucking good. I know.
And it builds,
Definitely.
it builds right from
Yeah.
the start.
That's awesome that it's your favorite sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you mentioned it that it would be perfect if it did have Dr. Loomis. My perfect sequel that does have Dr. Loomis is Halloween Kills. There it is, Halloween Kills, the best Halloween sequel. You guys are laughing, man. I mean, I don't know why. It's
I respect you.
fucking everything I want from a Halloween movie, and especially a Halloween sequel. This has quickly climbed. It wasn't always number 2. As soon as I saw it, I'm going to be real. It was probably sitting at like 4 or 5, but it just keeps sliding up, dude. And it finally overtook the original sequel because it is just so rewatchable. It is the most rewatchable sequel for me. The set pieces are my favorite set pieces other than the original. I'm not going to talk about the original. I'm just talking about the sequels because that's in its own stratosphere. We can't compare. And that'll never be... We'll get to it in a little bit. But, in terms of the sequels, it has my favorite set pieces. I mean, the opening firefighter scene is so gnarly, so badass. I love the park scene. I know, Anthony, you talk about how a nitpick is how they bring the legacy characters back and they don't utilize them that well. I think it's good. I think it kind of just supplements that it's a connected universe to the original. I don't think they needed to be like these heroes that come back. I think we already have that with Jamie in the trilogy. I'm sorry, not Jamie, Laurie in the trilogy. I don't think we needed all those other characters. I thought bringing them back was enough to kind of connect it to the original. And you guys said it, but you just kind of said it and then threw it away. The flashback scene. Before this movie was made, I did not think it was possible to recreate the atmosphere and the tone of the original Halloween in 1978, and holy fuck did they nail it. I mean, and then afterwards, Phil, finding out that it was all practical effects for Loomis and that was a real dude. My God. I was like,
I know.
How is that possible? I thought for sure it was a deep fake, but it wasn't. I mean, dude, the flashback scene is like what really puts it over the top for me. And the Big John, Little John, 2 of my favorite characters, one of my favorite sequences. Stuff. Fucking love them. I love when they're fucking with the trick-or-treaters. So good. The song that he plays on the record, Stop, Look, and Listen, I have it on repeat all through Halloween season. I love that fucking song. Stop, look, and listen. I fucking love it. It's so good. And I dance like him every time in the car when I'm listening to it. It's great. I fucking love this movie. It is, like I said, it's everything I want from a sequel. I am a huge, huge Michael Myers fan. And I've refrained from, making these comments the whole episode, but James Jude Courtney is so fucking perfect. He is exactly what I want from a Michael that's 40 years older from the original. A little bit more built, like kind of like old man strength, but he still has the movements down pat. His fucking mask in Kills, I have it behind me, is my favorite mask. 2018 is up there too. It's probably my second favorite mask behind the original. But it's my favorite mask behind the original in terms of sequels with the burnt look. It's so fucking scary and so good. I don't understand the hate. I think the mob is fine. I don't think it ruins the movie. It's really like such a small part of the movie. It's like 10 minutes long or something. I've counted it. They make it, people on the internet make it sound like The Evil Dies Tonight and everything. Like it's like half the movie. It's like, calm down, guys. We can look past this. I think this movie is a little bit of a victim of its time. I think people nowadays, especially being online a lot, they like to overanalyze and critique a film. If this film was made in the 80s, I mean, holy fuck, it would be a fucking instant classic, and nobody would critique it the way people critique it by today's standards. I just think it's so fun, and yeah, Michael is so awesome, and I will defend Karen, man. I love Karen in 2018, and I think it really nails home and Kills. I love the relationship that, she did not have the best relationship with her mother because of what she went through as a child. And I think they really explored that very well. And it really took her to experience the same trauma of losing a loved one, her husband in 2018, to really connect with her mother in Kills in the hospital. I just think it's great. And I love how Allison is our final girl. Her at the end in the house is so fucking intense with Cameron. His death scene is awesome. I just love this entire movie. I will defend it until my last dying breath. I just don't understand why people don't like this movie and can't have fun with it. It is so fucking fun. I love it so much. I could talk 20 more minutes, but I know we're getting long in the tooth here. But yeah, that's my favorite sequel.
Well, you said it. It's fun. It's a fun Halloween movie. It's fun. It's your favorite sequel, though, dude. Woo!
Yes.
All right.
It's perfect. It's fucking Michael on steroids. Michael is pissed the fuck off, man, and he's taking everyone down with him. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
I'll just add on to that. James Jude Courtney. I mean, sort of, Nick Castle is the OG, but I mean, you could make the case that James is MVP. I mean, just the stuff that he does over the course of those 3 films. And again, it feels connected. It doesn't feel like how some of the other films where like you kind of knew it was a stunt man or it was sort of awkward or whatnot. Like this feels like a seamless connection.
Yep, for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we all have different number 2s because my number 2 is the original Halloween 2 from 1981. It is the movie that is most like the original, so I never understand the hate it gets. It's the most consistent with that original movie. I just think that it's talk about movies taking place in the same night. This is the one that I prefer that takes place in the same night versus Kills, even though I have fun with Kills. But I just think it's a great continuation. That hospital vibe is so eerie and creepy with him walking through those halls just searching for Laurie. I love Loomis in this movie. I absolutely love Loomis in this movie. He's so damn good. I love in the opening scene when the neighbor's like, I've been trick-or-treated to death. And Loomis like, you don't know what death is. I'm like, yes, no you don't. No you don't. I always love that line
Loomis
so
has
much.
all the fucking lines in the whole
so
franchise.
good.
I mean, he is...
Dude, it's so good.
Constantly
It's so good.
quotable.
Yeah.
Endlessly quotable, but that specific line. I mean, we do find out in this movie that Michael and Laurie are brother and sister, and I actually liked that twist. The first time I was like, oh man, oh shit, that's why he's after her. I love the final chase. It's one of my favorite chase scenes in horror when he's chasing her through the hospital, and she just narrowly gets away. And then, obviously, when Loomis and Laurie are running away, and Michael's following them, and Laurie shoots him in the eyes, and Michael almost sacrifices... Loomis sacrifices himself for Laurie. Oh, it's so damn good. And then you see Michael walking on fire. It's like, holy shit. It's so damn good. The scores, I love the score in this movie. I think it's awesome. I think it has the best cinematography after the original. The same cinematographer, Dean Cundy, he did the original and this one.
Yep.
So damn good. But yeah, I think Laurie, it's interesting because she's almost like drugged up the entire movie. So it takes her a bit to like realize what's going on. But it also adds to the fear because she can't really move as well. It's so damn good. It takes the kills up a notch, but I think it does it in a tasteful way. It doesn't like abandon the vibe of the original, but it also steps it up, which I think keeps it consistent. I love the knife when he picks her up. I love the hot tub scene. I don't even mind Jimmy. I like Jimmy, how he's looking after Laurie. I like that relationship. Yeah, will always be my favorite Halloween sequel. And I think if you want to just have a 1-2 punch and stop it there, for some people who don't want to watch 13 movies, it's a great one double feature. It's the best double feature of the franchise. So yeah, Halloween 2 will always be my favorite sequel.
Rest in peace, Ben Tramer.
Yeah.
Yes, rest in peace, Ben Tramer. Damn Ben Tramer.
One of the craziest scenes ever.
Oh my
So
god.
crazy.
I mean, holy shit.
Is it him?
I still am. When I watch it to this day, I'm still shocked that they like added that scene. I'm like, holy shit! They
I know.
Somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah,
The start of Unhinged Loomis right there.
Yep.
yeah.
And I just have to say, I love that scene where he walks through the glass. I mean,
So damn
That-
good. Just
that's
no effort.
no, just smashes right through it. That's a top 5 Michael moment for me. I
Yeah.
just love that whole sequence.
Yeah.
And Loomis, of course, like,
Oh, it's so good.
he's like, oh, he's dead. No, he's not. Look at him. He's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
breathing. It's like, okay, Loomis, smartest character right there.
Yeah, dude gets his throat slit because he's an idiot. So damn good. So damn.
Again,
And the
don't listen to
shape
Loomis.
stalks. The shape stalks
yeah.
again. That score in Halloween 2. Oh, it's perfect.
Flawless.
So good.
Flawless.
Yeah. Favorite
John
sequel.
Carpenter. John
Praise.
Carpenter. Seriously, yep, man can do no wrong.
Damn it! I wonder what our number.
That's
one
pretty
is.
cool that we all have different least favorite, and we all have our favorite sequels. So that's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. So do you want to all say it together now? I mean,
Yeah.
pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let Phil bust the door open on this because we just did a whole episode on it. So definitely check out episode 40 where we covered
That was a good show, guys.
the original
That was
Halloween. But oh, thank you. Yeah.
very
So
good
go
show.
ahead, Phil. Take us away with your number one.
So yeah, drum roll, please. It is the original, the one, the only, the classic Halloween. I mean,
Whew.
there is so much that has been said. I mean, we could be here another 3 hours, honestly, just talking
Yep.
about like little details inside of each specific scene. This is the greatest horror movie in my opinion. It is the greatest slasher movie in my opinion. For me, after The Dark Knight, it is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it. I lost count how many times I've seen it. One thing that really sticks with me every time I say it, and you guys mentioned this on your show, it is a slow burn of a movie, and that is to its credit. Today, every movie wants to just jump right to the action and sacrifice story, sacrifice characters. The reason Halloween connected with people is because it takes its time with Laurie, Linda, Annie, Loomis, and builds that level of suspense till finally, the last 30 odd minutes, it's just an adrenaline rush of Michael doing what he does best, going after Laurie. This is how you want to judge any slasher movie, any horror movie. It's why we have Jason. It's why we have Freddy. It's why we have Ghostface. Like, it's all goes back to this movie. I mean, Michael crawled so they all could walk, basically. I love this movie, the score, the cinematography. I mean, again, there are no notes for this movie. I think it is a flawless film from start to finish. And again, it's been mentioned before, but it is practically a bloodless film. There is not much blood in this movie. And I think that, again, is to the credit of John Carpenter and Deborah Hill and Dean Cundy. They were able to get inside the mind of the audience. And in many ways, what we picture in our own head can sometimes be more frightening than what we see on screen. And just that level of suspense and the creeping sense of dread that is existing in this movie. I mean, my one hope for a future Halloween film is they really go back to what this film did so well, which is have that dread, have that suspense, and just sort of toy with the audience until they can't take it anymore. And then finally, show or do whatever the kill or dramatic event is. That's, I think, the real secret to this film's success is it takes its time. It doesn't go forward. It just is like, all right, we're gonna play with you a little bit more. I mean, I love the fact that a lot of it takes place in the daylight. There's just something creepy about like Laurie walking to school or walking up to the house, or when they're driving to go babysit. Like, there's just something unsettling about all of that. And again, it's the simplicity of this movie. I mean, this is the genius of it. It wasn't made for a lot of money, but they maximized everything and utilized all of their skills and resources to make a damn scary movie, and a damn good one, a damn great one at that. I love this film. Anyone who dislikes it, I'm sorry. I will have to just vehemently disagree with you, because this is it's perfect. Like, this is a perfect horror film, and I will say there will never be another Halloween. There will never be another Halloween. It was lightning in a bottle, and they got it right. They just got it damn right. I mean, you can't kill the boogeyman, and this movie, 45 years later, we're still talking about it. That's damn powerful.
Perfectly said. Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. My number one is the original Halloween, obviously. Phil, you talked about how it takes its time And guys, if you didn't listen to our last episode, we go in depth on this movie, so I'm not going to harp on it too much longer.
Right.
So go listen to that. But you said, Phil, it takes its time and the suspense builds, but at the same time, there's nothing to cut from this movie either. It's so every shot and every scene needs to be there and is so perfect. The suspense, even though it builds, it's there from the get-go. He's stalking Lori from the get-go. It does not waste any time. A lot of movies kind of I feel like the first half of the movie is just, no horror, and then they just jump right into it.
Yeah.
This movie is just paced so beautifully. And I mean, you said it brilliantly. It's the quintessential slasher movie. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. It sounds like it's your favorite horror movie of all time, Phil, and we know how Anthony feels about it. It's his favorite movie of all time. It's just, I agree with you. If anyone doesn't like this movie, it's like, I don't really respect that. I can't. And not to sound pretentious or anything,
No.
It's just, that's how important this movie is and how perfect it is. And I said this on our last week's episode. I am so grateful that this movie exists because it spawned so many other iconic slashers and franchises that I hold near and dear to my heart. It's my favorite subgenre. And, kudos to John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, the entire cast. Magic in bottle, indeed. So, just fucking expertly done. Love it so much. It's my number one. It'll always be my number one. Nothing will top it in terms of horror movies, especially slashers. And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it all. My number one is Halloween 1978, my literal favorite movie of all time, horror or not. Everything about it is just done perfectly. The directing, the acting, the writing. Just no other Halloween movie has matched the atmosphere and the mood and like the building sense of dread and who is this shape? Like, what is he doing? I just love how this movie really solidified Michael as someone different because he stalks his prey. He likes to play games. I think that, some of the sequels forget that part where he really likes to lead up to the kill. He doesn't just like to go for it. He likes to stalk his victims and he likes to play with them and he wants them to be in the most heightened sense of fear before he ends their lives, which is why he is the ultimate horror icon. He's a menacing asshole and I love him. He's so damn good. I mean, Laurie Strode's my second favorite character of all time, and Jamie Lee Curtis knocks it out of the park. Loomis is an icon. It's just everything works so well, and I think mostly because of John Carpenter, how he pieced it all together. The guy's a legend. I don't want to, I mean, we just talked for 2 hours last week about it, but this will always be my number one and will always be my favorite movie of all time. I mean, Halloween the OG did so much for cinema and the horror genre in general. There's just, you can't really, people will talk about another 50 years from now, people will be doing podcasts about the original. It's just never going to go away. And it's because of this original movie that we have 13 movies as of now. We're going to have another, God knows how many, when we talk about another 20 years, but it's all because of this OG. It'll never leave the conversation, and for a good reason. It's, to many, the best horror movie of all time.
That's like Dracula, Frankenstein. I mean,
Right.
You're talking about near 100-year-old films, and
Yep.
people still are watching them, still talking about them. So, I mean, Halloween is in that same conversation.
100%.
Awesome. We did it, guys. Let's pat ourselves on the back. We fucking did
Yay.
it.
We've ranked
Awesome.
Halloween.
So
We've
good.
ranked Halloween.
Just before we wrap up, just a quick question for you, Phil. We've touched on this in a previous episode as well.
Yeah.
Our favorite franchises of all time. Where does this rank franchises? Is this your favorite horror franchise?
Oh, without question.
Okay.
No hesitation.
Awesome. Glad we're on the same boat there.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Ant.
Second favorite franchise, guys, by the way. Second favorite.
No. You need to reverse that.
We'll get you over to the side of the table.
That's never going to change.
I'm going to keep bringing Phil back on until we get you.
I'll just
Get you
keep
back on.
wearing you down. That's all. Yeah,
Like you guys with me and ends. So,
yeah, there we go.
yeah. Awesome. I thought that went great. I love your guys' list. Let's do a quick recap. We'll just we'll go Phil, we'll start with you. Just list all of your movies from 13 to 1, and then we'll go with me, and then what Ant.
All right. So number 13 is Halloween Resurrection. Number 12 is Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Coming in at number 11, it is Rob Zombie's Halloween. Coming in at number 10, it is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Coming in at number 9 is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. 8 is Halloween 5. 7, Halloween H2O. Coming in at number 6, Halloween Kills. 5, Halloween Ends. Number 4, Halloween 2. Number 3, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Number 2, Halloween 2018. And of course, at number 1, the original Halloween.
Awesome. Okay, I'll go next. I have at number 13, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. At number 12, I have Halloween 6. At number 11 is Halloween Resurrection. Number 10, Halloween Ends. Number 9 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Number 8 is Rob Zombie's Halloween, the first one. Number 7 is Halloween 4. Number 6, Halloween 5. And then my top 5. Number 5 is Halloween H2O. And my number 4 is Halloween 2018. Number 3, Halloween 2 from 1981. Number 2, Halloween Kills. And number 1, Halloween 1978, the GOAT, the masterpiece.
Yes, it is. All right,
Into
my
that.
my number 13 is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. Number 12 is Resurrection. Number 11 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Number 10 is Rob Zombie's Halloween. Number 9 is Halloween Kills. Number 8 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Number 7, Halloween 5. Number 6, Halloween 4. Number 5 is Halloween 2018. Number 4 is Halloween Ends. Number 3 is My Baby H2O. Number 2 is Halloween 2, 1981. And obviously my number 1 is the OG, Halloween 1978.
Okay, there you have it. I want to give a special thanks to Phil. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a bit of a longer episode, so thanks for sticking around with us.
Oh, pleasure.
It was definitely a pleasure. We hope to have you on again sometime soon. Everybody check out his podcast, Phil at the Movies. Great podcast if you just are a movie lover. It's not just horror movies. He just covers, for the love of movies.
For the love of movies.
Yeah, there you go. So yes, thank you so much. And
Absolutely.
Until next time, this was episode 41, Halloween Franchise Rankings. You can find us on Twitter/X at neversplituppod. Also Instagram at neversplituppod. And give us a follow. Subscribe to our YouTube. Leave us a comment what your rankings are. Who do you agree with more? Maybe we'll throw out a poll, Anthony. Whose list do you agree with more?
For sure.
Obviously, we all have the same number 1, so we can't do that poll. But just whose list overall do you agree with more? Maybe Phil can get a win.
That'll
under
be
his belt
interesting.
for
That'll
the
be
podcast.
interesting.
So, yeah.
I'm curious now.
Yeah. So, look out for that. But definitely look out for that on our social media. And until next time, I'm Nolan. That's Anthony. And again, thanks for Phil for coming on. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.